What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the broadcast. Shout out to in the chat room. I know we are back again for another broadcast. Somebody type awful in the chat room. Somebody type awful in the chat room. I want to give a big shout out to Sleepy G2011. Welcome to the broadcast. As you all know, my name is Dennis Spurling, and tonight we are going to talk about awful white women. angry white men versus awful white women. Do you know they are having a family fight over there? These people are having a family fight. You know, it is just a lot it is a lot going on both politically, socially. There's a lot of racial issues. We are definitely dealing with a lot of information. And what I try to do is I try to make it all make sense. Somebody type "make it make sense" in the chat room. Somebody type "make it make sense" in the chat room. Okay. Now, awful actually stands for fluent white female urban liberal. And depending on who you're talking to, it could be urban leftist. Okay. Now, again, family, make sure all my black folk in the chat room, we are resting. Okay. But even though we're resting, we still looking. Somebody type, we still looking. We still want to see what's going on. We still got to be up on things. Okay. So that's kind of what I do, man. But anyway, let's go ahead and let me just go ahead and do my formal greetings. Everybody, welcome. This is the Dennis Spurling podcast. I would like to thank you all again. Have you guys been enjoying the podcast lately? Have you been enjoying the broadcast? Or is it fair to say you're not getting this level of conversation and entertainment, or should I say edutainment, because we're educating ourselves and we are also being entertained? Did you all enjoy? Have you guys been checking out some of my shorts? Have y'all been checking out the shorts? Did you know what your granddaddy was doing in World War II? Did y'all learn a lot? You didn't know what granddaddy was doing in that war? Did you? You didn't know granddaddy was over there helping re-educate Nazi white women? You didn't know that, did you? Now you know. You should have some, next time you see granddaddy, you should ask some questions. You should definitely try to get to know exactly what's going on. Matter of fact, talk to your Vietnam era soldiers. Talk to them too. Talk to your uncles. They all know what I'm talking about, okay? Because they go over these brothers are going over there armed and dangerous. You understand me? But anyway, here's the thing. No matter where you fall politically, since the election of DJ Trump 47, you can't help but notice a clear uptick in some of everything: sexism, patriarchal racism. It's all over the country, and I'm not talking about subtle bias or coded. I'm talking about in your face, unapologetic racism, sexism, and you see it. You see it in the racially aggressive enforcement immigration policies too. And I know some folks are saying, well, hey, we benefit from that. Yeah, but we can't ignore it. It is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. We're not going to ignore the truth. We're going to call it what it is. It might benefit us, but we're adults on this page. But the bottom line is, none of this is random. Okay, this didn't just happen. There's a reason behind it. And what we're witnessing is the collapse of this patriarchal control. All right, that's what you really see in the collapse of patriarchal white male control. And look, I know we got some white fellas in here, man. Look, I'm not your enemy. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it like I see it. You understand? I have as much against you as you have against me. You dig? So we cool, we cool. But if we not, we not. But we're gonna speak the truth no matter what. Now, what you see again is the breakdown of authority inside white society. And at the end of the day, as I said, this is a family fight. But let me be clear, it's not our family. Okay. What I'm going to explain today is what this fight is really about, and hopefully, explain the central reason of all this tension and why it exists. And it's really just white men and white women who are no longer aligned. All right. White men have lost control over white women socially, politically, and culturally. And as that control slips, the anger spills outward. Racism gets louder, violence gets justified, and scapegoats get chosen. And guess who's been the scapegoat normally? It's been us. So today I'm going to break this down, not emotionally, but strategically, so Black people understand what's happening, why it's happening, and why the smartest move is now to stay disciplined and stay focused and stay out of it. All right. Now that we've, set the table, let's go ahead and begin. You guys hit the number 1 button. And remember, I have one request. I am moving towards 100,000. And I would like for you all to make sure you hit the hit the subscribe button, show me some love. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. I certainly would appreciate that. And, let's go ahead and dig into this. Now, check this out. And, of course, and if you learn something, I should earn something. If you don't learn anything, you don't owe me a dime. But either way, we're going to have some fun. Check this video out. Hit the number 1 button.
Content creator, I have an obligation to my audience to keep you guys in the know. And I just learned about a brand new acronym I have never heard of before.
What is
AWFUL. Have you guys heard of it?
Nope.
It stands for affluent, white, female, urban, leftist.
Ooh.
Anyway, here's the video where I heard it for the first time. Check it out.
There's a fun new acronym going around the internet, and it's called AWFUL. It stands for affluent, white, female, urban, leftist. I like it.
I bet you would. And so, I've never seen white folks just at each other's throat like this. This is normally, they're having a full-blown gender war. It is just out of the box with it. But let's continue looking at this stuff. It's none of our business. Hit the number 1 button, family. Let's keep it pushing.
A new word for white women, and they're called AWFUL. Affluent, white, female, urban, liberal. And I'll give you an example of one. There she goes.
Oh, no.
There she goes.
Now, for you guys that don't know, that's the young lady. That's Renee Good. That's the young woman that was unalived by ICE. And, this is just how cold-blooded this thing has gotten, man. They are ruthless with it, man. Look at that. That is cold-blooded. You're going to call her awful. Now, this is after this woman has been deemed to be a victim of homicide, okay? But let's keep it. This is white men talking about white women. This is not us. Let's keep going.
And there she goes. Oh, God. There she goes. Well, the term is awful. What happened to her was super awful. So I guess the lesson of the day is don't be fucking awful.
Ooh-wee. Can you imagine if a Black woman was unalived by the police and you had Black men, whatever their political stance is, hop on the internet and refer to her in a derogatory manner? We always, there's this thing, it's like we always look at other people's things. We want to covet them. A lot of people wanted to covet white people's relationships. Not all of us, but I don't want to be like that. That is very hateful, if you ask me. But let's continue looking and listening and learning. Okay. Let's see if we can get some other folks to chime in. Hit the number 1 button.
Ever in downtown Seattle, I bet my bottom dollar it is a protest led and organized by rich white liberal women, feminists whose husbands are rich and either work in finance or at Microsoft. Because who else is protesting on a Wednesday afternoon?
You want one of them, don't you, baby? That sounds a little jealous. You rich husband in finance. Sounds to me like you want one of them. You want a husband like that. That's what it sounds like to me, miss. I mean, the other guys, those guys, they really meant what they were saying. You sound to me like you want one of those rich white men in finance so you can sit up at home and go protest on Wednesday with your cappuccino. But I'm gonna let you finish. But I do detect a little twinge of jealousy as you stroke your hair like that. You laying down like you ready to take one of those men.
There's a group of protesters, surprise, surprise, all white liberals, protesting on random Wednesday afternoon for the release of Nicolas Maduro. They want Nicolas Maduro released. That's what they're protesting about. It's a Wednesday afternoon. I'm not hating on rich wives because, honey, if you're a rich wife and you don't need to work, good for you. Good for you.
You don't mean that, though. I don't feel like you mean that. I feel like good for you, good for you. When women start saying good for you, whatever, they jealous. You looking too hard. You looking too hard at them white women. Don't be angry with those rich white women. You don't know what they had to go through. You don't know how much they had to deal with Tom and the meetings and oh my God, it's my in-laws. You don't know what she had to deal with. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. Let me let somebody else in. Shout out to Jean Davis. She jealous. Are you jealous? I can't really believe what you said. Let's see what the brother got to say. Hit the number one button.
Had enough.
You know who white conservatives despise more than anybody else? It's not black people. It's not Hispanic.
What? You don't think? Hold on a minute. Who do they despise more than black people and the Hispanics that they're rounding up with ICE? Huh?
It's white liberals.
No.
Because the worst parts of the black community are enabled by white liberal policy. And the worst parts of immigration is a result of white liberal policy. The worst part of the trans community is enabled by white liberal activists. Everything that is wrong with our country is the result of liberal policies that are championed and signed off by white liberals.
Hold on. I thought black people were the problem with America. Where all the black people at? Come to the front of the room. You mean it's been rich white women who've been the problem the whole time? Is that what you're telling us? I remember when I grew up, super predators, the blacks are taking all the jobs, and we don't have anywhere to live. I thought it was black people. When did it become rich white women? What have rich white women done to you? Rich white women donate to HBCUs. Okay, rich white women, they adopt little black boys and help them get to the NFL. Okay, how dare you all of a sudden change course and let rich white women be the problem? We, as black people, we're the problem according to all the news reports for the past 500 years. And now it's all of a sudden, I mean, they get everything. These rich white women just get everything.
They destroy everything under the guise of compassion and equality, but in reality, they enable people to remain inferior, infantilize the black community with taxpayer dollars, and incentivize illegal immigrants not only to stay, but to keep them comfortable.
So you saying the white men have nothing to do with it? It's all the rich white women. I didn't know they had that type of power. Where are the rich white women? Somebody type awful. Somebody put up the awful, Batman has the bat signal. I need the awful signal. I need the affluent white woman signal to go up in the air. I want y'all to go stand in front of Lululemon, okay, and put what should the symbol of affluent white female urban what should it be? What liberals? What should it be? It should be like what should it be? It should be like a empty Starbucks mug or something like that, or some Lululemon spandex pants. That's what it should be. I need to talk to them. I wish I knew more people. I just talk to y'all. I don't get involved in all the back and forth that's going on the internet. I don't have beef like that. Uncle D fight quiet wars. Somebody mess with me, I just choke them out and take them to the woods and choke them out, and y'all never hear about them. Their channels just disappear. That's what I do to people. Or somebody said avocado wraps. Yeah, matcha. We need a white woman Signal, are there any white women? If there are any white women listening, I would love for you to come in. Look, Uncle D is nice. Okay, I'm a gentleman. I'm not. Look, you can handle me. You can handle me, but you can handle me. I'm a normal, basic, man. You feed me, talk nice to me, rub my belly. I'm cool. You can handle me. I want y'all to come in, little white women, come on in, and I want y'all to come in and talk to me. Ugg boots. Somebody said. Somebody said the Ugg boot, a silhouette of an Ugg boot, beamed into the sky. That's the white woman said. I said, we need to get them in. I want to talk to them. I want to know what they're saying. Let's keep listening to the system.
And they don't even know it. That's the scary part. They don't even realize that they are the problem when they think they are helping.
Thank you to all of the people who follow me on social media. I just reached.
I'm gonna let you do the commercial, but that's amazing. White women are the problem. I thought we were the problem. I didn't know it was white women was the problem the whole time.
People are saying about white women is true. It's 100% true. And I'm going to tell you, as a millennial white woman who has completely walked away from everything that she has known in her white supremacy based fucking piss ass families. It's true. It's true. White women are the fucking problem. They embolden the problem. They marry the problem. They birth the problem. They're lazy as fuck and they play victim about the goddamn problems that they're participating in.
Now, hold on a minute. Because as I recall, black people saying this a long time ago. I do remember, like, anytime you have a woman who don't even want to breastfeed her own little big head children, she got another woman over there breastfeeding. That's pretty lazy. That's pretty. You got other women out here scrubbing the floors in your nasty house. I mean, but I think black people have been saying this a long time. When did all of this truth come out? Where did this come from? This is the age of Aquarius. This is the age of truth. Okay, I need look, man, this is amazing. And then she just snitching and telling. Somebody type snitching and telling in the chat room.
I don't know one happy white woman in one of my families. I only know white women that are either alone because men fucked them over.
Oh, you angry. You so angry, little white. You can't say that like that. Family friendly. Somebody type family friendly in the chat room.
Ruined their goddamn livelihoods and drove them insane. Or
oh, that sounds personal. She sounds to me like she's a little personal. But that was from her heart. She came up out her soul. Okay, go ahead, baby. Go ahead, get it out.
They settled because they wanted their fucking retirements and they decided, hey, I might as well let this fucking pissant live next to me. White women and families that have watched their fucking husbands treat them like shit, beat on them, cheat on them, everything, but they still staying with them, laid down like a doormat. They'll be sitting at all these family picnics talking shit.
Where the swirl is at? I need y'all to come in. This is your white kings. I need y'all to come in and explain this. These white kings, this is what these white kings are doing. This is what the white kings are doing in their family. Oh my God. I thought it was like Amos and Andy over. This is horrible. This is what is terrible. Man.
Shit about these men, talking about how much they fucking hate them, how they're losers, how they get shit stains in their pants, but they stayed married to him and they still fucking voted to embolden them. White women will sell out their daughters, sell out their children. They will quite literally do anything as long as they get picked. As long as they're not the ones getting beat on. Because what do we know about toxic ass white families, pathetic, shitty, white supremacy based fucking toxic ass white families? Let me tell you about those families. When they're not going after gay people, when they're not going after black people, when they're not going after marginalized groups and poor people, they're beating the fucking shit out of white girls in the family. Especially if you're a free thinker. God forbid you're pretty, okay? Or got a brain. Oh my God, you're getting your ass fucking beat down. And so what happens to those white women?
What happens to them?
They either find their way in the family so that they can at least be accepted and have love and support, whatever the fuck that looks like, or they leave. Like me. And they get demonized and chastised for it. This is white supremacy. Everything these fucking people are saying is true. Wow. I've watched white women in my family show up for my crackhead cousin who's been to jail a dozen times and put money.
White people got crackheads in their family. Next thing you gonna tell me they eat fried chicken and watermelon. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What? I'm gonna let her finish, and then I'm gonna say something afterward. We're gonna let her cook. Somebody type "let her cook" in the chat room. Put some seasoning in it, baby. Go ahead.
That's how you feel? And celebrate her because she's selling herself short and being a fucking nobody. When I graduated college, not one of my fucking aunts or mothers or any of those things was there to support me. Nah. You wanna know why? Because they didn't like it when I got smarter and I got more intelligent and I could empower myself. Because white women are just a tool for abusive white men.
Oh my God.
To stay in power.
Wow. Oh my God. Hallelujah. I need to unpack. I need one of those Martin Luther King fans from church. Amen. Let the church. She was cooking. She put her whole foot in the pot. She was cooking. Golly, that I mean, you know, that came out well seasoned and well. That was not rare or medium rare. That was definitely. That was charcoal. She baked that. It was no blood in that. She cooked that. You understand? But as I was saying earlier, the source of white supremacy, racism, is truly it's rooted in insecurity. When you start doing the studies and looking at it, and it started with insecurity over these white women. You cannot, and so the white woman was actually the first victim of racism. You know, she's patriarchy. Okay, black men for the most part we're very egalitarian. We kind of let women do what they do. You know, and that's why we're pretty much so easy to get along with. But my God, she was cooking. So she's basically they telling it. They are telling it. Go ahead, girl. This is what awful is. This is what these white men mean by awful. Let's tell the truth. This is why they're referring to them as awful. Let's keep listening to what these white folks
That's a new name. Awful. It's an acronym. I know. That's a big word for them. To describe Renee Good. Yeah, according to the New York Times says, quote, an awful affluent white female urban liberal is dead after running her car into an ICE agent who opened fire on her. Well, we all know what actually happened because we have eyes and we can see that what actually happened wasn't that little propaganda spin, but of course the administration's going to constantly tell you don't trust your eyes, believe our lies. I guess that makes Renee and me and millions of other women in the country awful fucking bitches. You know what? I think we need to start being a little bit more awful and a lot more fucking bitchy.
Damn, white people are going off on each other, man. These white women are in full. This is what this is about. This is, you know why that white man is mad? I want you to listen to this up because look, here's the truth. And we've always known.
White folk.
And let me tell you something. Black women have always known what the real problem is, because typically it's the black woman that the white man runs to, or used to be before y'all got rights, okay? It's the black woman that the white man runs to, mad with his white woman. That's why we got all these little biracial children, triracial kids that got a great granddaddy that's white. You start digging into your DNA, you got that ancestry.com, and next thing you know, Scotland pops up, or Ireland pops up. So let the sister tell you. She's gonna tell them, baby. Go ahead and tell us. I'm gonna let her cook. Go ahead, baby girl. Tell us what happened. What's wrong with them all? What's wrong with them? Tell us what is wrong with them.
And they try. White folk, come to the front. White women.
Yeah.
White women, this for you, white women. Come to the front.
They need to
okay. All of y'all don't need to hear this, but some of y'all need to hear this because this is a hard truth. It's a hard truth.
Tell them.
White men mad at y'all.
They mad at them.
I said it. White men terribly mad at y'all.
They are.
And they trying to blame it on everybody else but y'all. But they mad at y'all. They can't say it to your face. They just mad at y'all. They so mad at y'all. I wish it was so. But it's so. Don't ask me why.
Let me say, that white man is mad at that white woman. And he's been mad at this white woman for at least since the 1950s when he gave them rights. Ever since he gave these white women rights, he's been mad at them. They can vote. Okay, they have their own money. He can't tell them what to do. Okay, she don't listen to him no more. She got all these ideas in her head about how she want to run things. Let me tell you what she really mad at. That white woman is doing what she wants with that box. That box is on the market. See, that white man, I want you white men to listen. Come on up in there to the front. This is your mistake. You gassed that white woman's head up. You told her she was the most beautiful woman in the world. You put on all the magazine covers and you made her the beauty queen, blonde hair, blue eyes, big breasts, no booty. You made that the beauty standard for y'all. And now she feeling herself. And it has convinced a lot of people around the world that that's the beauty standard. And now she like, well, hell, if I'm the beauty standard around the world, I'm going to take this thing around the world. Look, where all the white girls at? When they do their hair like that, them, I ain't got no hair, okay? But them white girls, hold on, let me try. When they swing their hair like that, she's taking that thing around the world. And she is giving that thing to NBA athletes, football players. She throwing the pool boy can get some. Everybody gets some. Did y'all know that Sarah Palin used to mess around with Big Baby? You know the basketball player Big Baby? Sarah Palin, that ran with John McCain. She used to mess around with Big Baby in college. All these white women have a story of messing around with some black dude back when they was younger in college. And then guess what they do? Ladies, what do the white women do? They get the ring by what? They get a ring by spring. So they mess around, and then when they get ready to graduate from college, they find them a little Brad. You know what I'm saying? They find them a little Brad and go have some little blonde hair, blue-eyed babies, rinse, recycle, repeat. But they have that history. But they never forget. They never forget. You see, I know what's going on. Yeah, y'all didn't know Sarah Palin was messing around with Glenn Rice. They call him Big Baby in Michigan. Y'all didn't know that? She out here talking about, right wing this, right wing that. You was taking it from the right and the left. Lucky it was no video footage of they didn't have cell phones like they did. But yeah, that's what's going on. So these white women are liberated. You hear me? These white women are liberated, and that's what's going on. This is not, see, this fight that you see, this is the white man re-exerting his authority over white women, showing her that he's the man. I'm the man. I'm gonna whoop all these dudes. I don't know why you're attracted to them. They're not me. We're gonna dominate this country. It ain't gonna work, baby. That white woman is never, she's as rebellious as you. It's part of y'all culture. Y'all some rebellious people. Y'all rebel against everything. And she just doing what she do. Anyway, let's keep listening.
Why? Y'all know why.
Tell them why, baby.
Y'all ain't having enough babies. And they're redirecting their anger toward us.
That's what they're doing.
The non-white folk. They always misdirect that anger and they throw it to everybody when they just mad at y'all. They just mad at y'all. When they get mad at y'all, they get mad at everybody.
That's it.
I know y'all won't hear that. But it's the truth.
Yes,
Rosewood.
They mad.
Have mercy, Rosewood.
I know.
They mad at y'all for not having babies.
They mad.
I'm going to say it since nobody on the news will say it. They mad at y'all for not having babies. Black folk got enough babies.
We got plenty.
We the majority.
We trying to give some back.
World. We got enough babies. We got babies for centuries.
We do.
Okay? This ain't the first time they got mad at y'all.
Yeah.
They got mad at y'all before when they was trying to turn everybody white. Because y'all wasn't having enough babies back then.
Y'all wasn't.
But turn everybody white ain't work. So you want to know why the laws are being...
Well, she's talking about the Italians and the Irish. None of them were white. And Southern Europeans, these people got a white card when they got to the United States to fill a spot. They needed more numbers. Because remember, there's a whole bunch of black people in this country and brown people in the form of indigenous people. And so they like, we need to give some more people a white card. And see, what you see now is the Latinos struggling to get their white card, and that white card keep getting rejected. Rejected, Paco. Rejected, Maria. You're not going to be white. You know what I'm saying? Well, what if we vote for Trump this time? Rejected. Matter of fact, we're going to send y'all home. That's what's going on. There's a lot going on, man. Let's keep listening.
And pass so 50 statish like they are.
They are.
Because they really want to stop y'all.
Yes, white women. But they can't say nothing.
Abortions.
Yeah.
Because y'all ain't having enough babies.
White
to
baby.
their liking. This is them fussing at y'all.
This is what it is.
Since they can't say it out loud.
They can't
White
say
folk
it
come
out
to the...
loud. They can't say it out loud. She is on point with that. White babies. This is about white babies in control. We goddamn it. Damn it, they're not having our babies. This is what's going on. Let's keep listening. You can't control nature. You better go start trying to woo that woman. You better talk to her. All right, let's listen to what this cat has to say, man. Let me see. We got some more people up in here. Let's go back to awful. Let's go about these white. And they cutting up.
People who are very surprised that this woman was white, I invite you to sit with the privilege of never assuming someone gunned down in the street is the same race as you. That in and of itself is a privilege.
Now, what she's talking about, see this, she's saying, you know, you got a lot of white women in the uproar. Okay, you got a lot of white women in the uproar. They're shocked that a white woman was, you know, unalived by law enforcement. That never happens to us. And the sister right there is just saying straight up, that to assume that, you know, to assume that somebody getting unalived by the police will never be a member of your group. Yeah, that's a privilege. But in response, the white women are saying they're divorcing their husbands. Have y'all heard that? The white women are saying they are divorcing their husbands. Listen to this.
All the white women leaving their husbands. Suck it.
Because they don't feel protected. The white woman says, I don't feel protected, so I'm going to leave my husband. That's a lie. You don't even know her. Did you even know her?
Scare me. I'm so fucking sick of most especially white men saying this shit to me. Fuck off.
Oh, Lord, look at the disrespect. I mean, they are just, look, brothers, we thought we had it bad. You know, the sister's been giving us the blues for a long time. The white man is catching hell right now.
White women leaving their husbands over ICE. How many things have you overlooked? I know the answer. I just want you to think about it.
Damn, you see that? This is real. White women are divorcing their husbands because they don't feel safe. Okay, can you imagine? Did you know what it does when you have your woman talking about divorcing you and you white? That's all.
Video about white women leaving their husbands over current events and like why it took you so long. I knew that people would be coming to make excuses. What I didn't expect was the excuses to be like so poor and the same ones over and over again. Actually, that's a lie. I did expect it, but let's talk about it. A favorite, they got married young. Okay, well, I married my husband at 24. I met him when I was 21.
So this is a white woman saying, you all are crazy. What are you doing? Why would you tote the line? This is her. But I think like they probably wanted to leave their husbands anyway because they didn't even know this woman. It's just a random white woman. I'm just going to divorce you because, you know, you're not supportive of this woman. The husband like, I just came home. I'm trying to watch the game. And, sometimes people just pick a reason to do something they want to do anyway. They'll pick a fight so they can have a reason to walk out, and that sounds like y'all have not been happy a long time. If this young woman getting unalived and your husband's response or lack thereof is the reason that you base your divorce on, that means you've been wanting to leave that man. That's what it sounds like to me. But again, what we always notice is white people they're all, they have a higher marriage rate. But the thing is, what we don't talk about is the divorce rate. To get divorced, get remarried again. And so that's one of those cultural things. They get married at like 16, stay married to 19, have a baby, get married again at 20 to another man, have 3 babies for him, and then get divorced at 48, take his money, and get married again. Okay, and so they're still married, but they got 3 marriages. That's something that we don't see in the stats. Let's keep listening.
Young, you could say. I vetted that motherfucker because in 2012, 2013, I already knew I wasn't racist. Ooh. It wasn't just like a twinkle in my eye that I might think about becoming not racist 10 years from now. Ooh. So the I was young excuse still doesn't fly with me because it's about who you are. Yep. They were raised by MAGA parents. Same, baby girl. Sure, I have one parent who is now not MAGA, but when I was a kid, my parents were both voting Republican, and my dad was the one spewing racist shit all the time, and my mom never said anything. In fact, let's tell a little story
Now, hold on. You all told us that racism was just an illusion. And now you're telling me the dad was spewing racism all day. So you all were lying to us. Are you telling us that us black people, when we were saying, like, are you black people hearing this? Somebody type black people in the chat room. I need to make sure you all are here. You're telling us that all those years when you were telling us that racism is made up and we just need to work harder and we're victim, it was true. So we didn't get the job because we were black. That's what you tell it. But you told us otherwise. You told us that it was just made up. And if we work harder and pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps, racism would go away. Slavery doesn't exist anymore. Racism died with the Emancipation Proclamation. That's what you all told us. And then when Black Jesus got elected to be president, he absolved America of all its past sins. That's what you all told us. I remember, I was here. And now you're telling us, now you're, snitching and telling. Now you're telling us that actually that was accurate, the statement you made. I just didn't want to tell you because it wasn't convenient. So, okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. Let's keep listening.
Every year my family made gingerbread houses, which if you followed me around Christmas, you saw that I did it this year too. But one year my dad took all of the broken pieces of the gingerbread houses, and this was like in 2003 or 4, I'm going to say. Okay. And he made a scene that looked as if somebody had boomed a village, and he wrote in icing that it was Baghdad.
Oh, so you just all
So if I was able to recover, unlearn, become anti-racist after that being my upbringing, you can do it too.
Well, thanks a lot. I mean, I'm learning a lot. You learn a lot about people when they're mad at each other. They'll tell you all their business. Let's listen to some more white women talk and tell.
Oh, white women are finally getting really fucking fed up of their white husbands, telling them that they're overreacting to what's happening.
Somebody type nose ring in the chat room. Go ahead.
In America, and the divorce rate is spiking and is going to continue to spike because they're like, I mean, I bought into the patriarchy enough to believe that you were going to actually protect me. And now that there's actual danger at my doorstep, you're telling me I'm being an emotional woman.
So all you white women, so you're telling us you don't feel safe. But what, okay, and look, they told us, they're telling us they don't feel safe because they saw one white woman get unalived by the police. Now, black women, and I am not going to speak on behalf of black women. I would never do that. But I would suggest, I would think that black women have experienced that same thing with situations like Sandra Bland and you all and Breonna Taylor. Okay. And you all told us, well, don't worry about anything. All you have to do is just comply. And that won't happen to you. That's what you all told us. Look, I am so sorrowful for what happened to Renee Good. But when it happened to black women, and we saw black women get under, and black men too, okay? But black women, you all told us to just comply. So maybe if you just comply and you just know in your mind you're just going to comply, it won't happen to you. Isn't that the same advice that you gave black people? You told us just comply. And now, I mean, so don't be afraid. Nothing to be afraid of. And you're going, but nevertheless, you're so afraid that you're going to divorce your husband because you don't feel safe. That's the rationale. Okay. But I'm gonna let you keep going.
Yeah, that's a real thing that's happening. Look it up. Women are filing for divorce a lot right now, and I'm here for it. But there's also a parallel happening in corporate America. Okay? White women are just the last ones to wake up. We're slow to the uptake. Okay? Black women realized this a long time ago. They've been leaving corporate America in higher numbers and starting their own businesses.
No, they got fired, baby. What you mean leaving? They didn't leave them good government jobs because they wanted to. They got fired. Remember when Trump got in office? All you blacks, get out of here. Remember that? That's what happened. What you mean they left? They didn't leave. They got they look. Like Trump said you got 45 days and they took the package and they left. What you mean? Are you serious, boy? People have a short memory out here. Talk about that. They did it. Yeah, they went out and started their own businesses. Oh my God. See, they keep trying to put black women. This ain't got nothing to do with black women. Why you keep dragging them into this? I'm telling you, black women, look, you are white women's spirit animal. Do you hear me? You are their little chocolate-nated avatar. That's what you all are. Can you hear that dragging y'all? This is a fight between white men and white women, and you dragging black women into it, ma'am, with your little Italian self. Let's keep going.
Because they realized how toxic it was. And a lot of these black women and black executives who I worked with worked in roles where they really thought they could make a difference. They were in like people development or DEI, right? Or leadership.
They was there to get a check. They was playing with you, okay? They knew damn well they wasn't gonna make a difference. They was there to get a check, trying to make it to their retirement, sweetheart.
And they realized that like, oh, it was all just PR. It was all part of the same fake machine. And like, I don't align with that. And they're just gaslighting me. So a lot of black women left corporate America, started their own business.
They didn't leave corporate America. They were fired. You are fired. You not remember that? Anyway, go ahead.
Are out doing their own side hustles. And white women are finally fucking waking up too. That like,
they don't have husbands like you have. Your husband is your main hustle and your job is your side hustle. Okay. So they need two incomes. I'm telling you, you really don't have a lot of black friends that speak honestly with you. I'm gonna be the designated black friend for all these white people. I'm gonna have them throwing up black power fists and walking around with bandanas on their head by the time I get finished with. They're gonna have a great understanding. It's gonna be a few. I'm gonna throw a few MFers out there at them because they're hard-headed. But let's keep listening.
But the patriarchy is not gonna protect us. We're just the last ones it stomps.
Oh, shout out to Penelope. Yeah, you fine looking.
Last ones it stomps.
Yes.
And now corporate America is stomping us.
Ooh.
Okay.
Who runs corporate America? Why is you say the name? Who runs corporate America? It ain't black men. It's not Asian men. Who's corporate America run by? White men. You white men are stomping you, ma'am. Don't put it on the patriarchy. That might include all us men. That's the white man. That's the children you raise and so on and so forth.
We're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
really?
shit.
You just found out.
So I think we're going to see not even a higher number of like divorces from white women, but I think we're going to see a much higher number of white women saying this to corporate America.
For how long?
And to those systems.
They
and it's just, it's about time. We're very slow.
This white woman is signaling that she wants her black allies back. You black women, they want you all back. See how they gave you a shout out? She didn't give a shout out to the Asians. She didn't give a shout out to the Latina women. She didn't say anything to the Samoans. Why don't we ever bring the Samoan women? They are big and strong. Okay, why don't you give a shout out to the Samoan women leaving corporate America? Why is it always the black women? You send up the black women sign. What's the what's the distress signal for for black women? Y'all said for white women is Lululemons. They sending up bat signals for black women. They trying to send up, we need you, black women, come back. We need you to come on back. That's why we're giving you, we need you back here. We need you. What's the bat signal for black women? What is the signal that the white women throw up whenever they need black women to come jump in front of them? They say Ugg boots are for white women. What's the signal for black women? I need y'all to figure that out. Well, she's sending up distress calls. She needs help. All right, she needs that black female avatar back to jump in front of this whoop down. Yeah, but y'all sit down. Black women, you are resting. Put your feet up. Okay, I need you to get that razor blade and scrape that corn off the side of your baby toe. As a matter of fact, just get you some bigger shoes. But anyway, you're resting. You need to relax. You need to chill out. Let's listen to some more white women talk about their situation. All right. Let's see what we got here. Hit the number 1 button if you can hear me clearly. All right.
Doesn't care about all women. He doesn't care about you.
I think the hardest part of this current political moment is realizing how many people around me are actually evil. Not stupid, not misinformed, not misguided, just blatantly, openly enjoying and relishing the suffering of other human beings.
The white ladies are leaving their husbands. They're leaving their white husbands. They're telling their wives they're overreacting. And it's not that serious. And all of this stuff with ICE is not going to affect us. So why worry?
Man, all I know is that Minneapolis is probably going to move up the ranks of best places to be single after all of these divorces. and women understanding that the man they married is a bitch-made motherfucker who ain't really in.
Family friendly, so you watch your potty mouth. Okay, you are not, you a little foul mouthed ginger. You watch that mouth, sir. You're not going to come in here and destroy my family friendly environment. Okay, clearly you have too many Latino and Black friends. I bet you can curse in Ebonics, broken Spanish, and Irish. Okay, well, you're not going to do that here. Watch it, sir.
Interested in protecting shit but his own peace. Ain't that right, boys?
Deep down, they believed that if it came down to the line, at the very least, he would protect them. And now what we're seeing with what happened to Renee Good.
Now this is aggressive. This is the tone that white women use when they calling the police on you. There's 4 guys outside. They don't look like they're supposed to be in the neighborhood. I mean, you know, what do they look like? They have on black shirts and black pants, and they have throwback Jordans on and hoodies. Well, man, what color are they? They're black. They're black. Okay. And I don't know where they're here. I've never seen them before. Okay. And I am the vice president of the Homeowners Association. I know everybody here. That's the snitching voice. We know this. This is aggression right here. This is aggression. Y'all listen to it. Go ahead.
Is that when they go to him and say, hey, honey, that could have been me. And he responds with, oh, you just care too much. Oh, just let it go. It doesn't actually affect you. Is they're going, oh, so that actually.
You saying police brutality, y'all know police brutality never affects y'all. But y'all always say that more white people get shot every year by the police than Black people. But you know deep down inside it doesn't affect you. Y'all snitching. It's a lot of, y'all doing a lot of telling and snitching on you. I don't know if you all can recover from this. Because we're going to use these videos and we're going to say, remember when you said that you all knew that the police don't bother you? And now you saying we made it up? Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, why didn't your husband just tell you just comply? That's what he said. Go ahead.
Wasn't true. The sense of having that last, sense of privilege and security ripped away from us is shaking.
Did y'all hear that? I don't think I heard what I thought I heard. That last sense of privilege and security. Let's listen to her say it one more time. I thought you didn't have privilege and security.
True. This sense of having that last, sense of privilege and security ripped away from us is shaking us to our core.
So you scared of the police now, little white woman? With your little animal outfit on? You scared of the police? Well, we scared too. Welcome to the club. Go ahead.
We relied on all of our lives and kind of just depended on as a given fact has been ripped away, and it's fucking terrifying.
Hopefully.
We've been terrified too. We've been terrified. The police been policing our neighborhoods for years. One white woman get unalived after she, bumped into the police, and now y'all man, learn something new every day. Go ahead, sister. Look like you got a lot to say. Look like you talked a lot in class when you was a little girl. Let's see what you got to say. Go ahead.
What's going on now will finally be the thing that convinces white women, male-centered women, conservative women, etc., that if he doesn't care about all women, he doesn't care about any women.
Shit, what the hell are you talking about? I don't care about all women. Do you want me to care about all women? Do you really want me to care about all women? Let me give you an example. Yeah, baby, how you doing? I know we were supposed to go out to eat, but I saw this all woman outside, so I just brought her in here, and so you can share a plate with her. How about that? Yeah, because I care about all women. Somebody type all women's lives matter. Yeah, yeah, baby, I know that you and I have an exclusive relationship going on, but I found this woman outside. We met at the bar. And she said she didn't have anywhere to sleep. So I just decided to invite her up and let her sleep in our bed tonight. So you can sleep on the left. She and I are going to sleep on this side of the bed. I got 3 pillows lined up. And, feel free if you want to join in tomorrow night, because tonight is just going to be us. Because, I feel like all women matter. You understand? Does that make sense? Is that what you want? Is that what you don't be on here talking this nonsense? Stay out of these white folks' business. That's what you need to do, ma'am. Stay out of their business. Oh, if he don't care about all women, that's bull crap. That's some bull. Any of you women, that's why you don't look, ladies. Don't you listen to people like this. She already burned her edges up. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. Can y'all hear? Let me know if you can hear. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear? Hit the number 1 button if you can hear. Somebody say they can't hear the sound. They can't hear the sound. I'm gonna look. If you can hear the sound, let me know. I can hear me. Let me know if you can hear.
You either care about the safety of women or you don't. You either think all women are human or you don't. Yeah, and you thought that, at least he's going to protect me, right? No, because this authoritarian, patriarchal thing that they're trying to build, this is what your husband wants.
She seemed a little angry. You seem like you're a little angry, baby girl. Seem like you're a little angry. You need to lay them edges down a little bit and calm down. You need to calm down. You need some tea. You need to burn some incense. You need a foot massage. Why don't you get your own man and stop worrying about what other people doing with their man? Okay, that's what you need to do. I'm gonna let you go on ahead and finish. Go ahead.
It's the world that your husband, the man who promised before all your friends and family, and if you're religious, before God, that he would protect you. This is what he wants for you and for your children.
See, she the type of woman, if you mad at your husband, she the type of woman that you don't want advice for her, because she'll have you leaving your husband or your boyfriend. I can see that now. You just angry with men right about now for whatever reason, and I ain't do nothing to you. I don't even know you, and you seem like not the friend to call, because you're gonna exacerbate the problem. She'd be over there standing in the doorway, okay, while the girlfriend or wife is getting all her stuff leave. Come on, girl, like waiting for you to, and won't move. So you trying to get by to talk to your wife, babe, what's going on? Excuse me, Keisha, move now. That's what she seemed like. You seem like you all in the business. You seem like that, and then can't wait to start talking loud. Okay, go ahead.
This world where you can get in the head for doing absolutely nothing at all, just because the officer didn't like the cut of your jib, or you had pronouns in your profile, or he just didn't.
That wasn't what they was apparently. The boy, he tried to run. That wasn't had nothing. He tried to run him over. Apparently, that's what they saying. The pronouns. Where we go? It seemed like you have some ulterior. You have an agenda. Somebody type agenda in the chat room. Sounds like you're trying to use this travesty to push an agenda to me. This would sound like to me. I listen to people. Sounds like there's some agenda pushing going on, ma'am. Go ahead.
Like your attitude that day. See, black people, we get unalive for that kind of shit all the fucking time. Do you see it now? Do you see?
It's a lot of anger out here. I mean, a lot of these women seem like they've been waiting a long time to unleash their wrath. That's what it seems like to me. Let's see what somebody else has to say. Hit the number 1
There's
button.
something happening to my brain. It's like glitching with all these people who are in shock right now at this moment.
Tell me.
But what I really wanted to specifically talk about were the white women divorcing their husbands after Renee Good.
She got like a lot of tattoos, and it's a little distracting. But go ahead.
I had to pause with that for a moment, right?
Okay.
So a lot of them are divorcing their husbands because their husbands are saying, that's not impacting us, so we don't have to worry.
4.
I want us to first sit with that.
5. She got 1.
And I want us to hold that.
3.
That is why
5.
we are not having a revolution.
Revolution?
Because there are people who, one,
know for a fact it won't impact them, and they therefore don't give a fuck. People who think it will impact them because they're
how you make the piercing stick in the middle of your head like that? I mean, how do they get that in there? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Their privilege has thus far stood the test of time and has showed up for them and protected them.
Are you just making this up as you go along? Are you just putting words together? Somebody type word salad in the chat room.
And so therefore, they also don't give a fuck. And you have to question what percentage of the population that is. How many people are disengaging because it doesn't impact them, or they think it won't impact them? And also on the flip end, how many people are only engaging because it just now began to impact them?
Okay. Yes. Oh, really? And ladies and gentlemen, this is a demonstration on how men learn to tune out women that they don't want to hear. This is just what it's like when you need to refocus on the game, or maybe it's something you have to do. This is what's going on. And we've just pretty much tuned her out, right? And then I'll be right back. I got to go to the bathroom. Okay. That's pretty much how that works. Okay, because too much distraction, too much babbling. I couldn't. Let's listen to this, brothers. Brother, what you got to say? Talk to me. Let's hear.
These days when you see my face on here is that the wave of white women leaving their husbands out in the Midwest and across America is not anything to celebrate. They're still going to go and find another man who fits the exact same profile because they haven't changed their behavior. They would have left this man alone before this, but he finally crossed.
Sir, are your nails painted? Sir, are your nails painted, sir? Are they black? You got black nail polish? Okay.
The line, not her. No, you supported him all the way to this point. In the exact same.
That's what we do. That's what we do now. Okay. Okay.
In a way that disavowing Trump now doesn't make him clean of the things he supported, neither does divorcing him make you clean of what you've done. You laid beside that man, gave him comfort and peace while he took it from everyone else. You don't get to absolve yourself and wash your hands of what you've done just because you're a woman in the situation. I'm sorry, Eve, but you're just as guilty as Adam. Turn around and go do some work to fix him.
All right, bro. I'll holler at you. Yeah. We gonna, I get his point, but the music was playing in the background. It just felt like we were about to be transported to another dimension. Let's go ahead and listen to some more people play. Y'all
conversation about the so-called value system of white liberal women.
Okay,
now,
let's talk about
mind you, this is a group of individuals who they'll look to defend criminals.
Okay.
I'm talking about legitimate criminals, individuals who have a rap sheet.
Okay.
They will look to be in defense of those
Is
who
there such a thing as illegitimate criminals? I'm just asking, but go ahead, brother.
break into a country illegally.
Mm-hmm.
They will also defend terrorist groups, whilst at the very same time unaliving, eliminating their own infants.
So I want you to understand something, family. Just listen to listen to all the black people. Remember when Charlie Kirk was talking bad about black women? As a black man and as a black woman, you're offended when people outside the community talk bad about your women, right? Aren't you? Right? And so just listen. If somebody like Charlie Kirk was basically blaming black women for all the issues in the black community, it would be offensive. And so I'm going to make a suggestion to all you podcasters out there. Keep in mind that these are still their mothers and sisters and grandmothers and daughters. And so it hit different when it comes from an outsider to talk about your woman. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just pointing it out. I've heard some big, some YouTubers with a lot of followers basically blaming, lots of them, men and women, blaming white women for the problems of America. And all that's going to do is make that white man say, hey, you know what? Don't talk about my woman like that. I can talk about my woman like that, but you can't. And it's going to put a target on your back. Now, I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to talk about it, but I'm not going to talk about them like that. And I would never say all the problems in America are because of white liberal women or any one group. That's just ridiculous. But some people are taking this as an opportunity to take shots because they got, beef from whatever. I know some of the sisters are throwing shots at them, and it is what it is. But we don't like it when people do it to us. And I know white folk are an easy target because that's what they've taught us. But at the end of the day, that's still that man's woman. You understand me? And that man at some point is going to come to the defense of his woman, and you'll see what I mean if you keep living. Let's hit the number 1 button.
Can we just talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
The very same people who are willing to protect a criminal, gang member, etc.
Yeah, gang member. All right, so here's the thing. And I talked about this on a broadcast a couple of weeks ago. So white women, white people in general, they've already criminalized blackness. They're raised in an environment where black is considered bad. It's considered, angel food cake versus devil food cake. Okay, it's pervasive in that system of white supremacy. They're brainwashed, and so they don't necessarily see any difference between defending a black person. Shout out to Faquan DTM. They already perceive you as criminal. So they don't see any difference between defending you and putting their life on the line and protesting for you as they do some person who's jumped the border or has a criminal record and is an illegal alien. And that's the perspective you need to understand. Now, if we all know this, they've already criminalized blackness. That's why walking while black is perceived as a crime. And, until you prove yourself innocent, you're guilty. So when you get unalived by the police, well, he must have been doing something. See? So that's the perspective that you have to understand that these folk are coming from. And so we'll let this brother continue, but I made that point some time back. But until you actually understand a person's perspective, you're not speaking a language in which they understand. All right. And so he might as well be screaming at a mountain. They think you're a criminal already. So them defending a criminal alien versus black people, which they do, because it's the white women, the liberals, and the men who jump out there and, whether we're talking about civil rights or slavery or, criminal justice reform. It's the white liberals that jump out in front. It's not the conservatives. They want to keep things how they are. But let's keep listening, or the radicals, if you will.
Very same individuals who are not even willing to protect their own young.
Mm-hmm. Now, brother, black women have a high rate of baby deletions too. You see what I'm saying? So, like they say, if you, point a finger, you're going to have 3 pointed back at you. Okay. And I believe in places like New York City, they have more black children that are unalived every year than are born. So, I mean, let's just keep it 100, let's just be factual. What we like to do on this page is be factual. All right. We're not going to just, because, otherwise you can go to anybody else's page if you want emotions. We do accuracy here. Let's keep listening.
That's it.
That's
all I got for y'all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We're going to go on to the next person. Let's see who else we have. I think that's about all that. Now, what is, what is, we got a couple more here, and I'll let you guys hear a couple more. We'll let them speak for themselves. What do you think about this situation, ma'am?
I know you see me dancing and laughing and smiling, but I'm not
What's
that
going
dark
on?
place. But I wanted to share a couple things with you. Number one, that woman.
She's happy to be awful. Okay, somebody type awful in the chat room. She's happy to be awful. She's taking this as a badge of honor, making change. Okay, let's see what else we got in here. Hit the number 1 button. No, I'm not gonna let you do the montage. You're not gonna get me demonetized. Or yeah, but this is. Listen, let me see.
Investigations. Well, we're kind of.
So this is the dude trying to make some sense. Remember what I just said?
We're here to arrest a child sex offender, and you guys are out here honking.
No arrest.
All right, again, he's trying to make sense. Hey, we're out here trying to protect the child. You know, we're arresting a criminal, and as I say, a lot of these black and brown people have been criminalized by white supremacy for centuries. So they don't see any difference between protesting for criminal aliens and protesting for people who are just regular black and brown people. That's the perspective. You don't understand the brainwashing that white folk have had to deal with. We often talk about what happens with the folk like us, you know, regular black people and brown people and Asian people, but we never really talk about the mind warp that white supremacy racism does to white people. Let's keep listening. I like this broadcast. Listen to this.
And they feel like they can't argue with women their own age. They don't ever bring academics onto their podcast. They always bring on like barely out of their teens or actually in their teens OnlyFans models. And they have felt left behind by women their own age. And now they're terrified other men are also going to leave them behind. So what they're really doing is trying to keep all these other men and boys down with them in the trenches. And it's like, no, let them go, man. Like, it's your problem if don't gaslight everyone into thinking you're normal.
Are you quiet?
Look,
strong
we're
woman.
not asking you. So basically what she's saying is these women have elevated, they're educating themselves, they have money now, they don't need these white men anymore. Technology is allowed for white women basically to not need men per se, so they can get a divorce, okay? And they don't like it. They want these women to be dependent. That's what she's saying. And so when you get a lot of these guys on these podcasts like Fresh and Fit, they always get women who look like they just walked out of barely out of school, high school, and, you know, looks a lot like sex workers, you know. And I'm not saying there's anything that folk of whatever education level are not intelligent. I'm saying they don't look like they're prepared for that conversation. Now, listen to this guy get super frustrated when he has to deal with a woman who treats him like he treats, you know, women. Listen.
Look, strong woman. I thought you were a strong woman.
I hope you guys have a really good day. I'm leaving.
Hold on.
You don't look happy. Like, why are you like screaming on your podcast? There's pills for that. Like, go talk to a person in an office. Like, there's therapy for that. But instead, no, let's normalize the subjugation of women because we're telling men that they're too inept to grow. I believe men can grow. I've seen men grow. Like I said, I've grown to look up to many men in my life. I believe in men. And the people who tell you women have to be down, like brought down, don't believe in you, don't like you, and are very, very dangerous.
I've watched almost every single.
Yeah, and let me say this, family. You know, I don't really get into relationships, but I know it's a very emotional subject. And a lot of men, ladies, I want you to understand, a lot of men are emotional. And they're triggered by emotion, like, yeah. You know how you see guys get hyped up when it comes to playing football, like in the locker room, they'll get them hyped up and whatnot. And that's the enemy. And, you know, young men are easy to do that. That's why we recruit them at 18 years old and give them a 164-pound backpack and a rifle and send them up the side of the hill to shoot people that they don't even know. So if you yell and scream enough and you get men hyped up enough, young men especially, they're subject to, you know, they will follow you. They will feed into that. You don't see any calm, methodical, thoughtful men speaking to these young dudes these days. They basically saying the woman is the enemy, blah, 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 and they're getting them hyped up and emotional. And that's why they're so popular. You see? That's what you see happen. It's like a trick. If I get these young men hyped up and amped up and excited, if I yell, whether you're talking about Nick Fuentes or Andrew Tate or Myron Gaines, that's the hook. get them hyped up, get them angry like a coach or something like that. Send them out there to, fight against the world, right? This is what they did. It's a trick. It's a marketing. And if you're a type of young man haven't been raised and taught how to analyze your emotions and control your emotions, then you'll fall for it. Let's keep listening.
Podcast you ever did for about 1.5 years. So much so that I bought into a lot of the things that you said. And for about 2 years, it led me astray and significantly damaged my personal life, including relationships.
How did it lead you astray?
Well, you told me to go sleep with a bunch of women and date multiple women at the same time, which I did. And it significantly damaged my life. My concern is what you're saying to men leads them astray, because I'm a walking example of it.
Well, there you go. And you grow and you learn. And at some point, you guys who listen to these cats on the podcast, and you like what they say, you'll realize just, man, these dudes are very inadequate men. But this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. Look at this fella right here.
Women are the biggest poison to our society. Not white people, white liberal.
Now, I want you to listen to this Mexican dude, and I want you to watch this white dude very carefully, okay? And you'll see he's going to pivot, and he's actually going to respond, and he's going to put forth a defense. And he's going to basically say, it's not our women. It's not just white women. It's all women, okay? And so he diffuses the attack. And in doing so, he's defending his women. This is what I'm trying to help y'all understand. You can't just be spewing that. These men are not going to sit up here and let y'all just keep talking reckless about white women forever. This is their woman. Let's keep listening.
Liberal women are the biggest poison to our society. Not white people. White liberal women are the biggest poison to our society.
Not blacks, not Hispanics, not Asians, not Arabs, none of that, right? Is white liberal women. Now, how does that hit you? What if we have somebody on the internet saying black women are the biggest problem to society? All the black men like, nah, that's not even cool. That would be racist, right? So this is how this hits, okay? And you'll hear what the man says. He might agree with some of that, but he's not going to sit up there and let you talk reckless about his woman, because he's a man and he has to protect his woman. That's what they complained about in the first place. All right, let's keep listening.
Because they want to be so politically correct, they'll ruin the country doing that. And they're doing it right now. And why do I say it's them? They have the biggest voting bloc. White Americans are the majority of this country. So the reality is their voting bloc is much bigger than ours, than the Hispanic and the black community. So
and it might be okay for him to say it, but again, coming from another man, from another group, we're still very tribal, okay? We are all a bunch of hairless monkeys around here, whether you're a black, white monkey, a mocha colored monkey, Asian yellow monkey, whatever. We all savages. And in that regard, we are all territorial and we are all tribal. So listen to this.
So therefore, by the way, who do you think voted for Gavin Newsom? Strong, independent men? No. White, pink hair, blue hair, liberal women, white women are the ones voting for these idiots. Gavin Newsom won because of liberal white women, and so did Mandani.
While I was watching him make a very good point, I wanted to correct him saying it's not white liberal women, it's liberal women.
Oh, it's not our women, it's all women who are liberal. You see that pivot in the defense, that diffuse? That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So, I'm just throwing it. We haven't even got into the broadcast yet. I'm just trying to help you all kind of give you a perspective on dissecting what people say as it's, as it's being said, so you can make a mental note. You got to listen to people. If you listen to people long enough, they'll tell you who they are. Let's keep listening.
Any ethnicity. But then he made a great point of why it's white liberal women, and he's right.
Mm-hmm.
White liberal women, say that 5 times fast. White liberal women, it's almost like they're a cancer to this society because they're not willing to see the facts. They're not willing to see what's best for the city or the country or the state or whatever they're in. They just see as Trump bad. That's it. It's really sad.
Well, they saw slavery as bad. They saw. You take the good to bad. I got a couple more videos and then we're going to get this thing cracking. Y'all hit the #1 button.
Of passports being canceled, people having problems getting out of the country, all of these things, problems leaving the country, and it's all white women. I haven't seen one black woman, one person of color saying that they're having trouble getting out of this country. In fact, of the about 8 videos I saw, I believe only
they want you to leave. They want you to get up out of here. Why would they stop you from leaving? They've been trying to get us to leave for a century. What are you talking about? Abraham Lincoln, like, let's send them back to Africa. Let's send them to Brazil. Let's send them somewhere. What you talking about?
one of them was a man. The rest of them were all white women. I would be scared if I was a white woman. What the fuck do they have planned?
Somebody type Handmaid's Tale in the chat room. Type Handmaid's
That
Tale.
white women are not allowed to leave.
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about all that. I just thought that was interesting. But anyway, let's go ahead and proceed forth with the broadcast, family. And again, as I've said earlier, you know, this is none of our business. Okay, we are relaxing. Okay, we are on vacation. We have our feet up. But see, here's the reality that they don't want to talk about. White women are not lining up behind this nest. Okay, they're pushing back. They're calling out male entitlement. They're rejecting the lie that people of color, or immigrants, or black people are the problem. And so because of that, they're being labeled the problem. Isn't that something? Well, if you don't say they're the problem, you're not going to toe the line of white supremacy racism. Well, then you're going to be the problem. Okay. Now, for centuries, white male power in this country and other European countries or Western countries, it depended on controlling 2 things. Okay. 2 things at the same time. And one is race and the other is gender. And under English common law doctrines like coverture, which was imported directly to the American colonies, white women had no independent legal identity. They couldn't own property. They couldn't control their own wages. So if a white woman made money, it was her husband's money, right? Or they didn't even exist politically. They didn't exist apart from their husband or father. And patriarchy was not cultural, it was legal. So it wasn't just a feeling, it was something we practiced, it was the law. And that system began cracking when women's suffrage popped up in the 1920s. What it did was it weakened further during the civil rights era, when that racial hierarchy itself was challenged. And then it accelerated dramatically in the 60s and 70s. White women were giving that thing to anybody who wanted free sex, free love, popping pills, smoking, rolling. It was doing that. They gained access to education. They were able to have credit cards. There was a time where a woman couldn't even have a credit card or a bank account. They started getting careers, and basically they had sexual autonomy. They could have sex with whoever they wanted to, when they wanted to. They could, if they got pregnant, they had a pill, or they could go down to the clinic. All right. And so what we're witnessing now is the end stage consequences of that shift. White women are no longer buying racial exclusion as protection. They're no longer accepting coercive masculinity as leadership. And they're not just going to be obedient foot soldiers in someone else's racial anxiety. All right. And so instead, many of these women are openly challenging the very men who once assumed automatic loyalty. And the thing is, they have options. Okay. And that's why you see a lot of these white nationalists, these patriarch, all this rhetoric has become frantic, it's angry and it's unstable. And this crisis is not external, it's internal. This is a family fight. Somebody type family fight in the chat room. This is a family fight between white people. Okay. And it's the collapse of that white male authority that no longer commands obedience simply because they exist. Nothing exposes that collapse more clearly than how these men now talk bad about white women publicly and allow others to talk bad about white women. Basically, they're calling them degenerate. They're calling them traitors. They're calling them the enemy within. And so recently, and as I talked about this earlier, this new acronym has gained traction in these conservative spaces. And I'm not going to even just say conservative. These white, you know what I'm talking about. Awful, AWFUL. And again, I'll say it again, it stands for affluent, white, female, urban, liberal. This is on the recovery. I think this was on the cover of the New York, it was the New York Post or the New York Times. All right. And the term is openly hostile by design. It is meant to shame and isolate and discipline white women who protest against any of these policies that they deem are unfair. Immigration enforcement, police violence, or racial targeting. Here's the thing you need to understand, and we've talked about this. We keep it all the way 100 on this page. Clearly, the targeting of Black and brown people by ICE is racially driven, whether you like it or not. I know my foundational Black American brothers and sisters, we happy to see them gone. We happy to get all of them out of here. We happy to go to Mexico, Jamaica, Haiti, all Nigeria, all of y'all got to go. We happy about that, right? We happy. But what you don't see is a bunch of people from Ukraine being sent home. You don't see a bunch of people from some of these Eastern Bloc countries being sent home. And by my research has indicated there's somewhere between 500 to 800,000 illegal white people, Canadians and other folks are in this country illegally. And we don't see them marched around and targeted, not the numbers that we see these Black and brown people. So, you know, whether or not the law is written, the law is sending people home who are in this country illegally is clearly fair and equal, but the way in which it is executed, that's the problem, okay? But bottom line is these white women are not standing around and going along, okay? Now, here's the thing. You got these conservative commentators. They've described these women as white women. These conservative white men have described white women as the scourge of polite society. Okay, they are blaming white women for undermining order, not Black people, not gangbangers. Okay, it's not the gangbangers, it's not the drug dealers, it's not the external terrorist groups. None of that. It's white women. And not you think about that. They literally have framed them as dangerous and out of control. Shout out to Canary Valence. And you have commentators talk. I mean, they are one commentator even celebrated the label after a white woman protesting. Miss Renee Good was unalive. That is horrible. Can you believe that? That tells you everything you need to know. You know, when white women supported racial hierarchy quietly, right? When they was going along and getting along, they were praised as virtuous. And when they stepped out of line, when they start protesting, they refused to carry this racial anxiety on their backs, they became awful. Okay, not misguided, not mistaken. I mean, they are literally painting these women as enemies. And we have to be clear, okay? We have to be clear about what is actually happening, because the recent uptick in this racism didn't come out of nowhere. It's not random, okay? And it's not immigration alone. Again, this is about what's happening because these people feel like they've lost control. And here's the thing, racism gets the loudest when control is slipping. Whether we're talking about post-Civil War, during the Reconstruction era, when we talking about when Black men came back from World War II and we had our chest out because we'd been over there sleeping with them white women and shooting and killing white folk in Europe, but we just came back to the U.S. and we thought we was bad. As soon as we came back in 1918, the Red Summer popped up in 1919. They had to put us back in our place. This is what happened. Same thing after World War II. Black men came back from World War II feeling ourselves, and we had all that civil rights upheaval in the 1950s. Brothers was coming back from Vietnam. We was feeling ourselves, and then we had all those riots in the 1960s, and they killed off a bunch of our civil rights leaders. You understand? So again, I need you to understand. Look, that should make all the foundation of Black Americans uncomfortable. Okay? Because see, long before white supremacy brutalized Black people, it was built on the legal, social, and physical control of white women. Again, under that concept of coverture, right? White women were property. They couldn't vote. They couldn't own property independently. They couldn't even decide who they wanted to marry. You see? And so when white men learned dominance in Europe first, they learned dominance at home, and then they exported it. Okay? White women were the original captive audience of that white male authority. You hear how these white women talk about they don't like white? I mean, listen to what I'm saying. I mean, look, I don't get in nobody's business. But for the most part, black women like black men and black men like black women. All right. That's why even though we fuss at each other, we still making babies. Okay. Even the brothers who are passport bros, typically they go around the world looking for other black women. All right. So we still like black women. Black women still like black men. That's why they don't marry out as much. Okay. But again, that white woman, she was the original captive. She was original victim of that white male supremacy, right? They were controlled, they were disciplined, they could beat their wives all the way up into the 50s. You look at some of these old shows, man, that the man would literally take the belt out, put his wife across his knee and whoop her butt with a belt or spank her with his hand. This is what it was. This was the social engineering. Okay? Her whole job was to reproduce the racial order. You understand me? And that system worked for centuries because obedience was enforced and it was not negotiated. But see, that system is breaking right now. They done messed around and let that white woman has been smarter than that white man for centuries. And she has messed around and suckered him into giving her the power. Do you know white women hold most of the wealth in this country? Did you all know that? Okay. And you see, did you know that they have more education? I think it's two white women in college for every white man. Did you know that? Your wife is a high-ranking manager, and you work at you got a construction business. Yeah, you might make more money than she does, but she has more influence, social status, and power than you do. You can't tell her what to do, even if you do make more money. And so what you see happening is white women doing exactly what autonomous adults do, choosing their partners, rejecting coercive masculinity and refusing this racial panic as identity and living outside the scripts written for them. White women need us around here. What happens if the black people and the brown people get removed? What happens? What do you think happens to white women? Huh? They know what that's like. So it behooves them to keep you around here so you can take some of them rights and lefts. They don't want to be the only ones around here getting these proverbial, having their eyes dotted, proverbially, speaking, you see? But anyway, they're dating who they want. They vote how they want. They're prioritizing their own lives. And they don't care about this white man feeling insecure. And you got that white male racist culture, can't handle it. You heard what that lady said? Yeah, my daddy was racist, been racist. They need that. Okay? So what happens when that control disappears? They get vilified. White women are now framed as traitors, degenerates, race mixers. Somebody type mud shark in the chat room. Okay? Enemies of the nation, destroyers of civilization. This is who they mad at. Did you hear the sister talk about how the white man is mad? He's mad at that white woman. This is patriarchal rage. It's the language that men who believe authority should be automatic and obedience should be owed. It's the same psychology that says woman exercising choice is provocation. Now, you black men don't understand this because we are very egalitarian. We're like, all right, whatever. We don't get down like that. We've never had a patriarchy in the black community. We don't run that like that. We wash dishes, we take care of kids. This is their problem. And so I don't expect you fellas to understand it like that because we've never had the levers of power here in the United States in the time that we've been here for half a millennia. Even in Africa, when you look at some of those Egyptian statues, you had the man and you always had the woman right next to him, holding him from the side. I think it's Tutankhamun and his wife, Nefertiti, famous statue of him. Amun-Ra, I don't know. I forget right now. But so we've always worked with our women. That's not something we do. Hell, you had some female pharaohs. But here's the thing. Here's the part black people need to understand clearly. This rage is not caused by us. We're being blamed, right? We've been blamed for all the ills in America, but we're not the source. Black people are just a convenient symbol for white male failure to control his woman, right? So he can externalize it, all right, as opposed to dealing with it internally. Okay, and so this racist white male, and I'm not talking about all white men, but you guys who are white men, you heard these white folks explain it. So this racist white male culture is not angry because, or should I say, they're angry because white women are choosing. They have a choice, okay, and they want to target that autonomy, okay. Race is just an excuse. You know that white man don't care about who he's dating as long as that woman is going out there getting money. We've seen it happen all the time. As long as you can go out there and steal a black man's money, go ahead, Sarah, go get him. And hell, the white man been mixed races since the first one came down out of the northern mountains into Africa. So clearly they don't care that much about race mixing, do they? Let's just keep it 100. If white men really cared about race mixing, they would leave black women and the women of color alone, but they have gone all around the world and mixed races. So clearly they don't care that much about race mixing, but they want to maintain the autonomy to make that decision, but they don't want white women to have that autonomy. They want her to stay home for him. And see, that's why racism feels more openly sexist right now. You got people like Nick Fuentes. He says some racist stuff, but you know, the sexist stuff is the source of it. And see, that's why you see all these slurs aimed at women alongside the racial hate. That's why these men talk obsessively about betrayal and degeneracy and replacement. Those are not the words of confident men. Those are the words of men who no longer command loyalty. And see, that's not strength, that's withdrawal. And when men lose control at home, and they know they can't get the control back, they look outward for someone else to blame, someone else to punish. And see, that's when the racism spikes. That's when the violence gets rationalized. And see, that's when the scapegoats are needed. Which brings me to the most important point of this broadcast. Black people, and I'm gonna say this like your uncle, okay? Do not insert yourselves into this. Let me say it another way. Sit your black ass at home. This is none of your business. This is a civil war inside white society between patriarchal authority and female autonomy. Shout out to Kenneth Williams. Black people are not the cause. We're not the referee. We damn sure not the solution. Okay, and the only reason our name is mentioned because we're being dragged in because failing systems always look for external enemies to distract from internal decay. Do you know how we would be blamed right now if Renee Good was a black woman and Alex Peretti was a black man? See, we knew we would be the point of focus. They would come together on talking bad about black people and how stupid we were for resisting the cops. There's another one. But see, because we're resting, okay? See, because we're resting, because the Holy Spirit, whatever, the ancestors, whatever you believe, I know y'all been burning incense. Whoever you've been meditating to, whether we're talking about Jesus or the ancestors, because I know, you know, a lot of y'all out there watching the broadcast, something told us that we need to sit down, and we have sat down. Somebody type sat down in the chat room. We are resting, all right? And understand, it's not about sympathy, it's about strategy. When a man loses control over his house, you don't stand in the doorway. When a system turns on its own women, you don't volunteer. You don't volunteer to try to stabilize it. You step back. You observe. You protect your own. That's not fear. That's wisdom. Look here. Oh, listen. White women are in rebellion. For whatever reason, we thought they had it good. Didn't we think white women had it good? All you black women wanted to be like white women. You wanted to be like Sarah. You want to be like Becky. You wanted to have what that white woman had. Okay? They are in full-blown rebellion, and it's not a fantasy. Look, this is not some handmade caricature. I'm talking about they're educated, they're affluent, they're mobile. They have degrees, they have careers, passports, and they have options. And see, that's the part that they never want to say out loud. Women, especially white women, are no longer economically dependent in the same way that they used to be. They can earn, they can leave. Okay? They can choose and they can refuse. And when that control disappears, insecurity shows up as rage. That's not the language of dominance. That's the language of fear. And that's what people sound like when something they assumed was permanently theirs turns out to be temporary. And those women have become the nemesis of that white male patriarchy because they're refusing that old deal. And the data tells the story. White women have voted in higher rates than men in every presidential election since 1980. College-educated white women have consistently moved away from the hard right and patriarchal politics. You understand? What do you think that whole overturning Roe v. Wade was about? It sent the message. Bitch, we want our control back. Excuse me, I shouldn't say that. We gonna control you again if we can. You gonna have these babies. Somebody type white babies in the chat room. Somebody type white babies in the chat room. Okay? That's not abstract. That's it. This is a fight. This is a white fight. Okay? And see, here's a deeper issue. Patriarchy depends on leverage, and leverage is breaking down. See, look, you brothers, you always talk about game. You be spitting game. Yeah, man, you know, baby, I talked to my woman and blah, blah, blah like that. Look, everybody don't have that type of game. Some men have to use leverage. Basically, if you want to eat, then you're going to stay here with me, Sarah. All right, you want to eat, you want protection, you want to go out there with those N-words, those darkies, you want to go over there with them, you'll be in poverty, of taking everything. They could do that when the legal system gave the man the house, the cars, the wealth, and the children. She left with nothing. But see that old divorce system. Oh boy, you brothers think that you have a hard time with the family court. Them white boys been catching hell since the 90s, since no fault divorce. Somebody type no fault divorce in the chat room. They have been catching hell. Now we got 2,000 people in this chat room. I'm looking at this right now. It said 2,000 people. I don't know if that's true or not. Somebody let me know how many people we have in this chat room. But however many people we have in this chat room, y'all need to make sure y'all hit the like button. It said 3,231. Where all you people come from? This was an intimate conversation. We was talking about white folk, and all y'all showed up. But nevertheless, I'm going to keep y'all entertained. Hit the #1 button if you can hear me clearly, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel. Do it right now. I want all you white folk, look, all you patriarchal, white racist, white folk, you're going to learn a lot over here. Uncle D is going to help you get your home straight, okay? Uncle D is going to help all you white nationalists get your home straight. I'm going to show you that Jesus is black, and we're going to be all right with that, okay? I want all you white folk, all you white men, come on in. We're going to help you get your swagger back, okay? We're going to help you understand. Come on in, hang out with Uncle D. All the white men, all the white women. I'm going to come there. I'm going to help y'all out, okay? But again, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already. Now let's get back to this broadcast. Like I said, patriarchy depends on leverage, what you can hold over this woman. They don't have game like that. It's economic. And so what happens when the woman is economic independence is increased? Okay. You see, you have a situation right now where you have more marriages. They involve wives earning as much or more money than their husbands. You understand me? And when a woman can pay her own way, oh hell, when she's paying the bills and she paying more of the bills and she can walk away without starving, right? She's not gonna take all that nonsense that she used to take anymore from Tom. She doesn't need him for survival anymore. There's a concept called monkey branching, okay? And what that means is women work their way up the ladder. And if you just an average man and she's went to school and makes more money than you, guess what's going to happen? Shout out to Fitzgerald 2417. Okay. Women typically marry up. And if she's paying all the bills, you're not going to have any leverage in that house. Black men have had to deal with that a long time. The federal government came up with this whole welfare system, and that really did the black community a horrible disservice because it put this money in the possession of black women, and she basically didn't need the black man anymore. So if he wasn't making 2-3 times more than her, he was not a catch to her. But here's the thing: what's going on now? Okay, what happens when the patriarchy starts losing? It's getting louder, it's getting angrier, it gets more controlling, and that's why every let's restore the nation, let's make America great again, all these fantasies, if we just get rid of these blacks and we have ourselves an all-white enclave, a white-only enclave, then we can have these women all to ourselves and we'll eliminate their choices. That's where all these fantasies come from. You see, they bundle them all together in the same agenda: anti-abortion, anti-divorce, anti-birth control, anti-LGBT, anti-feminism. We don't want these women to have any options. You see, and that's not a coincidence. That's the blueprint. Okay, hierarchy, resentment, control, all dressed up as morality. Because remember, they keep throwing Jesus in it. Jesus ain't had nothing to do with this. You understand? Yeah, you with me? Now, the truth is, many white women across long stretches of American and colonial history experiences white patriarchy, and they recognize it as a trap. It's not a privilege. And this shows up repeatedly in some of the letters and the court records and the plantation diaries and the oral histories. As again, I talked to you all about the term coverture. And under English law, a married white woman was basically her husband's property. She subsumed his identity. She didn't control anything independently. He could take her money. And so divorce was rare back then because it was impossible. Where was she going to go? He was going to take everything. And so between the 18th and 19th century, marriage was basically you obligated to have sex, you are legally dependent, and you are confined. You see, and historians have documented cases where white women, they sought informal covert ways to try to secure financial independence in order to escape these abusive, unwanted marriages. Let me explain something. I've read enough, in my work on reparations and trying to figure out who owned who and why. White women owned a lot of slaves. Matter of fact, in countries, in places like South Carolina, the husbands, the fathers would leave the slaves to the daughter just so she could have a source of income because he didn't trust her new husband. This is your daughter. So she would leave him some slaves. And guess what the white women would do? The white women would then hire out their slaves, keep the money from the slave that the slave made, hold it somewhere safe so that she could use that money to escape from her husband. This is what white women were doing. Okay? Think about that. They would sell small goods. They use household economies. They stash money without the husband's knowledge because anything she earned was his. This is all in these slave chronicles. These white women were not having a good time. All that antebellum love, it was not what you think it is. Okay? And a lot of these actions appear in probate disputes. Runaway wife notices. You know how they have runaway slave notices? They had runaway wife notices in the local newspapers or correspondence. The wives would run away. The men would literally go out and put signs up and say, "My wife has run away," and have her trapped. You got the white slave catcher looking for the he's looking for the runaway slaves and the runaway wife. So again, these women were not rebelling against society in the abstract. They were trying to survive this male control. And at the same time, white women were acutely aware of the white man's sexual hypocrisy. Here she is telling him, here he is telling her what she can and can't do with her hot pocket. And and you look at the plantation and you listen to some of the slave narratives, Hell, right now, most of y'all can take some DNA. The vast majority of Black Americans have white European DNA in it. Where'd that come from? Okay? And it happened because white men routinely took or coerced Black women under their authority and control and had sex with them while publicly declaring they're inferior and animalistic and unfit for citizenship. But you was getting civilized by that chocolate-nated hot pocket. You see what I'm saying? And of course, white women knew what was going on. They saw this as a contradiction. They saw it up close. They lived with it. They raised children alongside the enslaved or the formerly enslaved women who bore children and fathered by the same white men who was the father of their children. You put them kids next to each other and they look just alike. Think about that. That's why they had to come up with something called the casual killing laws. White women were so angry that they would unalive these kids. They would just hit them upside the head with stuff. They would hit the women upside the head with stuff. I mean, they literally came up with a body of law called the casual killing laws so that you could no longer prosecute a white woman. That's who it was normally for unintentionally unaliving a slave. And that's how mad they were around. Can you imagine that? You stuck out on that goddamn plantation and he done had another baby. You sitting up here pregnant and now you got ghetto twins. I think you know what somebody typed ghetto twins in the chat room. Y'all know what that is? A ghetto twin is when your baby daddy got another baby mama pregnant at the same time that you pregnant, like Cardi B's baby daddy. That's a ghetto twin. Imagine that. You sitting up there pregnant and next thing you know, damn Annabelle is out there in the slave quarter pregnant too, and there's no other men on the plantation. So you know your husband did it. And the baby come out looking just like your child. You know, children, even Black children, come out being very pale looking, so they look like twins. She's suckling one baby, she's suckling your baby on one breast and her baby on the other, and they look like twins. That's called ghetto twins, but that would happen all the time. And so this contradiction, it produced rage in white women. It produced resentment and rebellion. And it was not always noble, you see, and hell, it wasn't safe, but it was real. Okay. And so what happened? White women responded by asserting control over enslaved women. They were cruel to them. Others turned the anger inward or outward. They tried to escape that domination. And so many of the gender historians have documented cases of white women forming emotional alliances with Black women. That in comes the Black woman. You are her spirit animal. You understand? That's what you have been traditionally her anchor. Every time the white woman get in trouble, she go run to a Black woman for strength. And that was happening on the plantation is happening right now. Y'all keep letting it happen. Okay? Think about that. But again, as you understand, these alliances were fragile, okay? And they were constrained by race and power. When she didn't need you anymore, she was back with her husband, which is what's going to happen now. All right? And what is not well supported by, let me say it like this. You know, a lot of white women, and many of you guys know this, they come from these racist families and they end up with a Black man. Don't y'all find that suspicious? Don't you all find that peculiar? Huh? I want you to think about something. So a lot of these interracial sexual relationships, they're consensual, right? But oftentimes, I mean, think about this. You got white women, and I talked about this last night. You got, you know, they saw this white male and this is supremacy and all this, and the Black people, the Black men and the animals, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as she has an opportunity to, she runs and gets with her Black man. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes Black women, sometimes white women, even now, will go deal with a Black man and have his baby because she's rebelling against that white male patriarchy and that racism, not necessarily because she's not bigoted or not racist herself, because as I said, every human being is tribalistic and we have those intonations. But the bottom line is not so much about romance as it is about rebellion. So in order to escape that domination, she makes herself untouchable. Now I have these black kids. They will leave me alone, so I don't have to leave them alone. And they never go back to see their family. They invite that. Okay. You see what I mean? I want you to think about that. That's one of the ways. So a lot of these white girls that date black men and have children by black men, they do it because, you know, it's a way in which they can rebel against that white patriarchy, that white family, that oppression. I mean, just think about it. You see it happening all the time. It's not necessarily a fetish. It's a way out. Somebody type way out in the chat room. Okay. And again, like I said, this is not a modern phenomenon. It's not a modern phenomenon. It's been going on for a minute. Okay. Hell, and I mentioned this earlier, that runaway wife. It was a big thing from the 1730s to the 1820s. Look it up. The runaway wife ads. All right. They printed them in the Pennsylvania Gazette, the Virginia Gazette, the South Carolina Gazette, and a lot of the New England colonial papers. Shout out to Devin Mitchell. You can go to the Library of Congress and check some of this stuff out. Okay, so I just want y'all to think about that. So this is a long time coming. There's nothing new about this. Okay, but anyway, you guys, well, let me say it like this. And I want to play this young lady's video again because I'm not the only one who's made this determination. I really like what she said. It's cute. Y'all listen to what this little sister
White
said.
folk, come to the front. White women, white women. White women, this for you, white women. Come to the front, come to the front. Okay? All of y'all don't need to hear this, but some of y'all need to hear this because this is a hard truth. It's a hard truth. White man mad at y'all.
Yep.
I said it. White men terribly mad at y'all. Yeah. And they trying to blame it on everybody else but y'all. But they mad at y'all. They can't say it to your face. They just mad at y'all. They so mad at y'all. I wish it wasn't so. But it's so. Don't ask me why. Y'all know why. Y'all ain't having enough babies. And they're redirecting their anger toward us, the non-white folk. They always misdirect that anger and they throw it at everybody when it's just mad at y'all. They just mad at y'all. When they get mad at y'all, they get mad at everybody.
They do. Tell them, baby. Girl.
I know y'all want to hear that. But it's the truth. Rosewood. Have mercy, Rosewood.
Yeah.
They mad at y'all for not having babies. I'm going to say it since nobody on the news will say it. They mad at y'all for not having babies. Black folk got enough babies. We the majority in the world. We got enough babies. We got babies for centuries. Okay? This ain't the first time they got mad at y'all. They got mad at y'all before when they were trying to turn everybody white. Because y'all wasn't having enough babies back then. But turning everybody white ain't work. So you want to know why the laws are being passed so 50 state-ish like they are? Because they really want to stop y'all from having abortions. Because y'all ain't having enough babies to their liking. This
control
is
too.
Them fussing at y'all.
They fussing at the bed. They fussing at her.
Since they can't say it out loud.
They can't say it out loud.
White folk, come to the
man. So, you know, I'm not the only one to see this. Anybody who has eyes can see, man. Somebody type awful in the chat room. Somebody type awful in the chat room. So again, and you know, we're not going to be here all night. Okay. But this is not an accident. That the backlash is both. We see the racist part, but we might not necessarily see the sexist part because some of us low key want to agree with that. Some of y'all mad at black women and you want to agree with that. And some of you mad with your Hispanic, you mad with your women. So yeah, right. Okay, I got it. All right, but again, this is not an accident. Okay. And you know, again, the worldview. Okay, the patriarchy is dying. And see, a woman's self-determination undermines a masculine, a male authority. And here's the thing, fella, it's your fault. Black men in general have invented have taken technology to the point where women don't even need men anymore, despite what you say. They don't need us anymore. Okay. And so because of that, because you're irrelevant, they don't need you. And so you've made yourself irrelevant. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into why I think or, why that is. But what I will say, and I want you guys to be I want you to understand, I'm not here picking on white liberal women. I'm not picking on any woman. In fact, if you want to get down to it, I want to be clear. This is not an attack on white women by black people or by communities of color at all. It shouldn't be, at least not on my part. This is white patriarchal frustration with a social evolution happening that it didn't want and can't stop. And for that reason, I salute these awful women. Somebody type salute in the chat room. I salute these white women. And I don't have a problem saying that. And see, this is what separates me from a lot of the dudes who are so-called red pill or manosphere, whatnot. I speak the truth. Okay, if you earn your place, you should have it. Okay, you claim your own destiny. I acknowledge you. I'm 100% with you. I want to see you win. I want to see everybody balling. You see, I don't, and let me, I guess it has to do with the fact that I don't fear empowered women. And let me explain something to you about my position as a black man, specifically as a black American man, or what we call a descendant of the American Negro, ADOS, foundational black American Solon man. I have no problem with a intelligent, educated, hardworking, strong woman. Okay. As growing up, I was surrounded by strong women. Matter of fact, some of them was so strong, if they hit you with the right cross, you would be on your back. Okay. Because a lot of them were literally physically strong. Shout out to my cousin Shalonda. I have to tell you about that story one day. But the women that I grew up with, they didn't work because it was trendy. Okay. They worked because they had to. Women who made things happen whether conditions were fair or not. And two of the most powerful influences in my life have always been my grandmother and my mother. And now that does not mean I always agree with either one of them. And I love them both, respect them both, strong women. But it does mean, it does not mean we never clash. But the lessons they drilled into me was simple and consistent. Hard work, stay your ass out of trouble, get as much education as you can, and do the right things by your family. And more importantly, I watched them live those values for decades. I watched their strength over time, not in theory, but in practice. Because of that upbringing, I'm naturally more egalitarian. Now, I was around a lot of very successful black men. I mean, you got my dad black back there. He was an attorney and love him to death, appreciate it. He and I didn't agree with everything. You see what I'm saying? But so I had positive football coaches, etc. I had all that. So I had a very balanced life. But the bottom line is I'm egalitarian. And what that means is, and some of you ladies may like this and may not like this, I understand that women are capable of doing. Okay. I've never been the type of man who thinks a woman is all delicate and fragile and sugar and spice and everything. Hell no, not me. Oh no, oh no, all hands on deck. You understand me? And so you may not like that. Okay. You may not like that. I never infantilize women like that. I saw too much. On top of that, I'm not an insecure man. And my wife would tell you, she's a dynamic woman. She was just honored. The woman has as many degrees as I do. And I've told her before that I expect you to be one of the richest women that I know. I've told my wife that. I've told her that. And I'm damn sure gonna make she is. You see what I'm saying? And I've told my sons that. And see, here's the thing. She has as many, like I said, she has as many degrees as I do. And I have 3 law degrees. She has 2 law degrees. I tell my sons all the time. And she's gonna be rich because she listens. She do exactly what I say do, and she's gonna be rich. I empower her. You see? And I'll say this plainly, even though it sounds patriarchal to some, that she follows my guidance or how to conduct herself in business and the practice of law and in education. That's not about control. that's about standards. It's about discipline and it's about execution. See, a lot of you all, we talk hypothetically about these high value men. Well, I'm one of them. High value man means I have high standards for myself and I expect everybody around me to adhere to those standards for themselves. We talk about discipline, we talk about execution. And, you know, here's where a lot of men get exposed. A lot of men want to keep the woman barefoot and pregnant, not because that's a woman's place, but because it allows those men to avoid elevating themselves. You see? Think about that. See, if your woman is stagnant, you don't have to grow. If she's dependent, you don't have to improve. That's not leadership, man. That's fear. You see, and one thing I'm not is afraid. I'm not a scary dude. You see, if you're with a woman who's doing well and you want to keep her respecting you, you got to stay up. And that means if she's hustling, you got to hustle harder. Not because you're competing with her, but because a man that leads from the front, that's what you want to be. That's leadership example that I provide. You see, you don't pull people down to feel tall. You see, you rise so others can follow. Yes, women are hypergamous. And I know you guys have heard that word before. In other words, they looking around. My Uncle Slim told me this a long time ago. He said, man, your woman might love you, but that don't mean she's not looking around for a better deal. And I've always internalized. I thought about 14 and 15, I used to ride around my Uncle Slim in his Cadillac all through the city of Los Angeles. Man, we'd be all up in LA, West Side, Compton. Sometimes we'll go up to Wilshire Boulevard, and I'm just riding. I should have had my ass in school, but I'm riding around my Uncle Slim and this L-Dog. I think he had like a 78 Eldorado. It was brown. He always had the fifth wheel in the back. And, you know, Uncle Slim was about 6'8". He used to have diamond rings on. Uncle Slim is why I always liked these alligators. You know, when I was a young boy playing football, I would look up in the stand. Uncle Slim would be up in the football stands at Manual Arts High School. I remember one day he had a goddamn yellow suit on with some red alligators and a red handkerchief silk sitting up in the stand. I'm like, he's like, who is that? That's my Uncle Slim. And just imagine a big, tall, 6'9" man sitting in the stands at Manual Arts High School, shining and glistening. That's my Uncle Slim. Yeah, man. So anyway, bottom line is he gave me that game, and I kept that in mind. You see what I'm saying? You know, and he was telling me way back then in the 1980s that women are hypergamous, and that's real. But instead of trying to keep women down, I uplift women around me. Hell, I push everybody. I push my sons around. Everybody get pushed around me. You can't be around me and be stagnant. You see, even the young ladies in my office right now, they all go to TSU, which is a historically black college here in Houston. I'm trying to get them to go to law school. Ain't no money in being regular. You see what I'm saying? Because, see, that pushes me to outdo myself. See, strong women don't threaten a strong man. Successful women don't threaten a successful man, but they do expose weak ones. And so at the end of the day, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe all people are equal under the law in the United States of America, and I thank God for that. I don't need to keep a woman down to feel good about myself, man. And that mindset comes from insecurity. That's not strength. And see, I understand this too. I'm a foundational Black American man raised in what is many would call a matriarchal, a woman-dominated environment. And I've seen women at their best, and I've seen them at their worst. Let me break that down for you. I've seen prostitutes and I've seen business owners in the same house, and I've seen them do what they do. I've seen school teachers and I've seen crack moms in the same house, eating out the same kitchen. You see, I've seen women who are police officers and women who are PhDs, but also seen women who are drug dealers and scammers. You understand? I've seen women who are professionals and mothers and leaders. So there's no mysticism for me when it comes to women. And I've seen that at a young age. What I've learned is that they're human beings. They're capable of good and they're capable of bad. There's some strong women and there's some weak women, just like men. And I accept them as they are. I don't have no fantasies like that. I don't pedestalize women. I don't infantilize them. And that's the difference between me and a lot of you fellas out there. You see? Of course, there's some physical differences between men and women. We all know that. It'd be stupid for me to sit up here, anybody sit up there and think that, is, oh, yeah, I'm not, why would we reduce it all the way down? Oh, a man is physically stronger. But hell, here's the thing. I've met women who are more mentally tough and more emotionally stable than a man. I want you, if you don't, go watch a baby be born. Go watch a baby be born. Okay, hell, the shot that they put in the women back is enough to make you pass out. They put a shot, get a needle about that long, and they put a shot in your back. You understand what I'm saying? Most of y'all pass out that. Now, if you ever want to know what it's like to have a baby, I want one of you dudes to get a grape and push it through your pee hole. That's what it's like to have a baby. All right. So in order to you can't say that's not mentally tough, right? And they can't control their emotions and able to stay focused under pressure. And of course, you got women. I don't want to reduce it down to just biologically, but hell, there's some of the best lawyers and best judges I've ever encountered have been women. One of my favorite judges, the Honorable Vanessa Gilmore. She was the youngest federal judge appointed to the federal bench. She got appointed by Bill Clinton. She's one of my mentors, Black woman. Went to Hampton, and then she ended up going to U of H Law School. And hell, I've had some women, they have handed my ass to me in court, okay? And I thank God for it because that made the profession better. I want you to understand, so I'm gonna land this plane in a minute. No society can progress while keeping half of its people down, okay? That's just reality. You see, like the old saying goes, if you want to hold a mule in a ditch, you're gonna have to get down in there with it. And as long as men are trying to hold women down, they keep themselves stuck in that dirt. A woman can rise no high. I mean, I don't want to go into that too much, but here's the bottom line. White men have been keeping these women down. Okay. And these women are like, no, we're not going for it. You can't elevate like that. You never will. And see, that's my perspective. And that's why women all over the world, and most Black men share that perspective. I hope they do. But that's why women all over the world are choosing foundational Black American men, because we are egalitarian. Okay, and that's our cultural upbringing. It separates us from the African men who are Black. It separates us from Caribbean men because they're quite patriarchal. You see, it separates us from Latinos, and it separates us from white men and every other group of men. It's not, we always say, oh, it's the penis side. That ain't it. It's who we are as men. Yeah, I'm sure they like that wood. Somebody type that wood in the chat room. I'm sure these ladies like that wood too, but it's not all about that. You see, it's about the man you are. And again, that's the reason why Black American men are considered the best fathers in America, because we're the most involved, according to the CDC report in 2015. And that said, Black people should approach this moment with strategic discipline, not emotional entertainment. Now, when men begin to view their own women as enemies, that's not politics. Okay, that's failure, and that's what you see happening now. You see the legitimacy has collapsed. You see, real power doesn't need to threaten, to shame, or intimidate. Power that's legitimate is followed voluntarily. So when you see these white men start calling their women traitors and degenerates or enemies, what they're really saying is we no longer have moral authority over them. And so again, for centuries, white men dominated, that white male dominance depended on that silent agreement, and the white woman would accept male leadership and reproduce the babies and socialize the children to follow that hierarchy. But see, that foundation is cracked and it is going out. Okay. And that's what you see happening. You see it. Now, the question is, when you start asking yourself, when the control turns inward, you got these men asking themselves, how do we win? How do we stop these women from defecting? This fear of when white women are not participating in the social order means that, they're not giving birth, they're not raising children, they're not going to be able to transmit those values and help shape the identity of these children. The white men don't trust the next generation. And so this is the problem. And so now you have coercive masculinity. See, strong masculinity attracts loyalty. Weak masculinity demands obedience. And this is what you see happening right now, family. So I'm gonna let another video play real quick. Y'all hit the #1 button and make sure, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Have you all been learning something? If so, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Now I want y'all to check this out. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you learned something, and let me know by hitting the subscribe button. Check this out.
White boys and men are so angry because their parents prepared them for a world that simply does not exist. Their parents prepared them for a world that no longer exists, I should say. Their parents did them a great disservice in this way. They were expecting a world where black people were inferior to them. Were taught that they were the cream of the crop. They were the best of the best. They were taught that their skin color gave them an advantage over black and brown people. And it does, but not exactly in the way they had hoped, right? And because the world doesn't exactly look like how they expected it to look, they have decided to simply create their own reality. For example, them continuously spouting that 1350 thing, 13% of the population of 50% of violent crime. It has been debunked, multiple times all across the internet. But they continue to spew that because that's the reality that they have prepared themselves for. And they're gonna stick beside it. Like, they prepared themselves, their parents prepared them for a world in which black people are violent and thugs and bullies and the bad guys. And maintaining that perception is literally what keeps them going. If they ever allowed themselves to believe that black people were actually not the bad guys and that they were the bad guys, they would themselves. And so they have to maintain this reality that they have created for themselves where black people are the bad guys and everyone else is the good guys.
And so what happens when black people are not involved? What happens when we say, no, we're gonna stay home? What happens when we are resting? What happens when we go on vacation from all these political fights? Who do they start blaming? They start blaming awful. That's what happens. So as a direct result of black people saying we're resting, they're turning inward. And so this is what you see happening right now. This is the political, and I say this, and I hope this is timely, especially since things are getting hot. Let me say it like this. This is not our fight. All right. And I was taught a long time ago, and I brought up Uncle Slim, and I'm gonna tell you a little story. And those of you guys who read my book, you may be familiar with this story. I was about 14 years old, and I would hang out with my Uncle Slim and his friends at my grandmother's house when they would be playing dominoes. And at some point he was playing, I think he was playing dominoes with his friends, Pete, Sonny from the East Side, all his homeboys from back in the day. In the 70s, and they were playing, of course it's like 80 something, might have been probably 1988. So I'm at my grandmother's, I'm at the dining room table, and we slapping bones, and my Uncle Slim had an interaction with his baby mama, at least one of them, and she had some issues. Okay. She's a heroin addict. She had all the issues. She was gay before gay was acceptable. Her couple of kids, had 3 kids from, it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line is he was strong on her. I mean, the hand was strong on her, and she kept messing with him, and so he went off on her. And also there was some other women in the house. I believe my cousin's mom was like, y'all do something about it. And so I'm like, I'm young, I don't know something. So I went to try to intervene. And before I got 2 steps, one of my Uncle Slim's homeboys grabbed me by my shoulder. And he told me this, as the action was going on, he said, nephew, you don't ever intervene between a man when he's dealing with his woman. And it was bad. I mean, it was feet, fists, elbows, somebody's falling down on the ground bad, right? But he told me that. He said, that's not your place. And on top of that, you could turn his rage against you. And so any holding back he might do against his woman, he's now he's not gonna hold back on you. So stay out of it. And see, that lesson stayed with me. And what I learned in that moment was not approval of behavior or brutalizing women, but an understanding of how rage works, how boundaries work, and how power turns unpredictable when pride and emotion are involved. See, I'm gonna land this plane, okay? Just like in the street, when a civilian inserts himself into a conflict that's governed by its own rules, he becomes the weakest, most exposed party. See, emotion collapses structure, and once that happens, intentions don't matter. Only consequences do. Now, I wrote this in my book, is the rules to live by, how to maintain peace of mind and happiness in a conflicted world. And in that book, I've explained that one of the fastest ways to lose peace of mind is to insert yourself in conflicts that are not yours to manage or resolve. See, wisdom is not proven by constant intervention. It's proven by discernment. Knowing when to act is important, but knowing when not to act is critical to your survival. Look, just as I learned on the streets that civilians have no protection when they violate the code, I've learned in life that stepping into an emotionally charged personal conflict invites people to redirect their rage and violence towards you. See, rage doesn't have reason. It spills. And once it spills, it does not respect good intentions or moral arguments or third parties. Sometimes restraint is not weakness, it's strategy. Staying out of certain situations is not cowardice, family. It's self-preservation. Peace of mind depends less on fixing chaos and more on refusing to stand in the path. Do y'all hear me? Because some of y'all hard-headed. And see, that lessons apply right now in this time we dealing with. See, just like I wanted to step into that volatile domestic conflict between my Uncle Slim and his second baby mama, had nothing to do with me. See, Black people need to recognize when the struggle is governed by rules, histories, and emotions that do not protect us. When white men lose authority over white women, that rage does not disappear. It looks for someone else to land. And history shows us exactly where it often gets redirected. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood. You insert yourself into someone else's internal breakdown, you don't become a mediator, you become a target, fool. And see, this is not about morality, it's about self-preservation. You understand me? Am I speaking a language in which you can understand? Don't let these white women bait you into this. Baited into we've been baited into emotional labor and the outrage and the taking sides in fights where neither side was ever centered on our long-term interests. That's not solidarity. It's misdirection. That white woman is going to take you and put your Black behind in front of that white man. You're going to be her spirit animal, and you the one that's going to suffer, and it's going to drag Black men and all the rest of us into sit your butt at home. Because see, that misdirection has always preceded punishment. Observe, yes. Analyze, yes, absolutely. That's what I'm doing. Protect your people, your resources, your children, and your future at all costs. But don't confuse discipline with indifference. They keep asking Black people, y'all scared? Why won't y'all come out? No. Staying out of y'all's business is not apathy, it's strategy. Shout out to Torian Jones. Look, when the system starts turning on its own women, I'm going to say this is like the third time I've told you this. When a system starts turning on its own women and its own myths, okay, it's already unstable. The last thing you do when a structure is collapsing is stand underneath it. Let them people argue. Let them resolve or fail or whatever. Our responsibility is not to manage their decline. Our responsibility is to ensure that when the dust settles, foundational Black Americans are still standing and that we still intact. And we focus on building something that doesn't depend on anybody's approval, okay, or their internal peace. Now, Black people, I'm talking to you. I want all y'all to bring y'all selves to the front. You need to understand something, and I'm going to say it again. This is not our fight. This conflict happening between these white folks have nothing to do with us. You got these white institutions fracturing. They got demographic changes. They mad because they feel their country's being taken over. We didn't have anything to do with that. They let these people in. It's them and that man and that woman not getting together, having their children. What does that have to do with us? None of this is about black people. Even when our names are dragged in. Okay? It's still not about us. They would like to be able to use us as a scapegoat. Somebody typed black fatigue in the chat room. Where'd that come from? How do we get involved in that? Somebody typed black fatigue in the chat room. That was a talking point for about 3 or 4 months. We didn't have anything to do with it. We're not the root cause of this. And we're not the solution. This is a family dispute that white people are having. And we're not part of that family. So the smartest move for black people is to stay out of it. Look, history has showed us that we've paid a high price for inserting ourselves in internal conflicts, being used for leverage in struggles that we never, it was never about our freedom. And when we step into these disputes, we lose protection and gain nothing but exposure. And so at this moment, it requires discipline, not participation. Let them fight it out, and let the white folk and the white women, let them deal with that. Let them resolve these internal power struggles on their own terms, because our responsibility is to our community and our resources and our future and our families, not refereeing and rescuing a collapsing power structure that never rescued us. Now, let me break something down further for you. Who is Donald Trump to these people? Why does Donald Trump, let me let you see something, because I want you to understand what I'm talking about. Donald Trump is not saying anything that none of these other folk have been saying. I want you to listen to what your first black president said.
Protesting ICE today, but you voted for it in 2008.
Bush administration has done nothing to control the problem that we have. We've had 5 million undocumented workers come over the borders since George Bush took office. It has become an extraordinary problem. And the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. As president, I will make sure that we finally have the kind of border security that we need.
You ever ask yourself?
Somebody typed deporter in chief in the chat room. I think, did Barack Obama deport? How many millions of people did he deport? Was it 2 million a year or something like that? Didn't he deport like 8 to 10 million people? Somebody check that real quick. Barack Obama has deported more people than any other president. Even shout out to Alabama Clay Child. Are y'all learning something? Maybe I need to try harder. Somebody said, scapegoat a spirit animal. Yeah, man. But look. So what I'm saying is, my whole point of showing you all that video was that Barack Obama is doing. Trump is doing the same thing Barack Obama was doing, trying to do. That's deport these illegals. And so, what is it? And I need black people to understand why you need to stay out of this family fight and why this really is a family fight. And in order to do that, you need to understand Donald Trump and who he represents inside white society. Let's break it down. Donald Trump, he's not just a politician. He is an 80-year-old white male patriarch. He is rich, he is powerful, he is loud, he is entitled, he is racist. Whether I know you don't believe he's racist, because I know we got some Trump support. I can absolutely tell you I still support Trump. And I voted for him knowing he was a bigot and a racist and all that. I'm telling you, because what he's doing, at most of what he's doing serves my direct interest. Bottom line is, this is how he's perceived by white people. He represents the daddy figure that's used to being obeyed. He's that white male authority, the kind of authority that tells people what to do, how to live, who belongs and who doesn't. That's him. He embodies everything that these liberal white women And many liberal men have spent decades rebelling against. Remember we talked about rebelling? He's crass, he's ignorant, he's racially insensitive. They know he's a hypocrite. They know he's a sexual deviant. Somebody type Steen in the chat room. They know he's steening people. Somebody type Steen. They know he's a sexual deviant. They know he doesn't live by the moral rules he demands from others, and that's exactly why he enrages them. They know him. That's their daddy. Trump doesn't persuade people. He's not using game. He's not egalitarian. He commands. He doesn't ask, he orders. He tells them what's good for the country, what's good for their future, and what sacrifices they need to make to keep the system going that they increasingly see as unfair and unjust and hostile to their own autonomy. The racial system is tied to the patriarchal system. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, family. And so they're rebelling against him. So what you're watching, black folk, what you're watching is not just political disagreement. It's family rebellion. White people know this pattern well. Did you hear all them white people telling on themselves? We never heard white folk out snitching and telling on each other like that. They are telling. This is what they're telling you, but see, you're not listening. But hell, that white people know this pattern. It's the same energy you see when parents cut off grandparents from seeing the children as punishment, right? It's the same dynamic when control is lost and boundaries are broken. It's not a rational debate. It's an emotional revolt. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. White women historically have used their bodies and their choices and their relationships as tools of rebellion. And that includes dating and having children with black men. That not always about because of love or hate, but often as a direct rejection of the racial and sexual rules that they were raised to obey. It's an act of defiance. It's against racism they grew up with, and sometimes in their own households. And that also goes for that LGBT activity. Okay? Some of this is not romantic, it's political. So when people talk about Trump, this Trump derangement syndrome, a TDS, what I hear is something much deeper. I hear white people rebelling against a racist patriarchal father figure who's demanding loyalty to a dying system. And Trump is telling them, this is for your own good. And they saying no. And so when you look at how people are on the internet react to Donald Trump and in real life, especially people who don't like him, all right, it's clear this goes way beyond normal politics. You heard Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, Herbert, his daddy. We've heard all these people say the same thing about immigration. Why is this different now? Why does he get under their skin like that? Again, this is not just a disagreement over tax policy or immigration. The reaction is visceral, it's personal, it's emotional, it's obsessive. They can't stop watching this man on TV. Did we even see George Bush this much? Barack Obama was the first black president, and they had eyes on him everywhere. He didn't get this much press. Barack, go away. No, we didn't see him. But we see Donald Trump every day, not just on the news media. We see him every day. This man is trending on all social media. And again, when you look at the actual policies, Trump is not doing anything radically different from what the other presidents did. Barack Obama, like I said, they call him the deporter in chief. He deported more people than Donald Trump. His administration put children in cages at the border. It was Barack Obama that did that. And these facts are well documented. And yet, the emotional response to Obama is nowhere near to what we see from Trump. You might say, well, George Bush was a white man too. That's true. George Bush, both of them, but specifically George W. Somebody type W in the chat room. George W. Bush was a white man too. That's true. But nobody reacted to George W. Bush the way they react to Donald Trump. People saw they saw George W. Bush as a kind of jovial goofy. He was goofy, right? Some of them saw him as funny. Other of them saw him as inept. But, very few people were afraid of George Bush. right? He didn't trigger the kind of rage or fear or obsession that Trump does. So if the policies are similar and the outcomes are the same, what's the difference? The difference is not the policy. The difference is the effect, the psychology. That's what's going on. See, Trump, he's not experienced by white Americans as just another American president. He's experienced as this authoritarian father figure, okay? And they call it transference. When emotions originally directed at a parent get unconsciously transferred onto someone else. Daddy issues, y'all ever heard that term? Daddy issues? Yeah, that's what you're dealing with. Mommy issues. And so Trump has become symbolic. He's a stand-in for that white male patriarch many of these white folk grew up with and rebelled against. He represents the punitive father. He's a moral hypocrite. They saw their father punishing them, come home, beat them up, beat the wife up, beat the kids up. White girls catch hell. And I'm going to do a broadcast about that. White girl catch hell. Do you hear me, little white girls out there right now? I know poor little white girls right now. A lot of these white girls will tell you they've been through hell and back, growing up in those white houses from their fathers, all sorts of stuff. Right? They know their father. He's a moral hypocrite. He's drinking. He doesn't. They know this is what they see, and they see the controlling aspect. That's insecurity. And then they demand authority for your own good. And see, that's why reactions to Trump are not proportional to specific policies. Everything this man does get a backlash. Okay, people aren't just reacting to what he does, they're reacting to what he represents. That's why the anger feels so deep and so personal and so constant coming out these white folk. And the polling backs up this data. You have all these polls over the years that show people who disprove Trump, they cite his personality. They cite his temperament and his character. What does that have to do with what the president does? Huh? Think about that logically. If your problem with Trump is his personality, his temperament, and his character, why? I mean, we invaded a country that had nothing to do with 9/11 and bombed the hell out of people. Trump went in and took a dude from Venezuela. Do you remember what George Bush did? We took a whole country. We took Saddam Hussein and unalived him. Do you remember what Barack Obama did to the Muammar Gaddafi, the ruler of Libya? I mean, do you remember? They didn't even give him they didn't give either one of them a trial per se. They just bombed them, and both of them died. You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, let's just think about that. This man, I mean, when we go back to Trump, his disapproval numbers are so high across all these issues. At the same time, the economy, immigration, foreign policy, leadership, it tells you something important. This is not a narrow policy disagreement. This is a holistic rejection of authority. That's what you're looking at. We're watching multi-generational authority rupture. You see, in a patriarchal system, obedience is expected, autonomy is punished, and dissent is framed as betrayal. When white women and younger generations gain independence, the system destabilizes. And Trump's response to that loss is to what? Double down on command and coercion. We had one person get unalived. He turned around, sent more troops, and another person got unalived. This is what he did. He doubled down. He doesn't persuade people. He dictates. You understand? The man frames disagreement as disloyalty, and psychology tells us exactly what happens. You see? People feel like their freedom is being threatened. White people feel like their freedom is being threatened. And the more control they feel, the stronger the urge to resist. Shout out to Tobias Judah. Y'all learning something? The more control they feel, the stronger the urge to resist. sometimes even irrationally. They are getting rid of crooks and criminals who are in this country illegally. Why would you not like that? When is that a bad thing? Any other president did it, we'd be like, right on, salute. But because it's Trump, you have people who have this, white people who have this feeling. Even if you agree with Trump on certain issues, they rebel against him because they refuse to be controlled. That's what's going on. And that's why the harder he pushes, the stronger the backlash becomes. And now here's where it gets real uncomfortable. Historically, when women are denied formal power, they use relationships, they use sexuality and reproduction as tools of agency. And that's not romance, that's politics. Whether we talk about dating, marriage, childbearing, becoming symbolic acts of rebellion. That's identity opposition. Defining yourself by rejecting what was imposed on you, like marriage. So you got a bunch of women, oh, I'm gonna be a lesbian because they want me to get married. This is why interracial relationships, especially involving black men, because we are, as black men know, we know that we are the target. We are always Dr. Francis Cress Welsing told us we always top at the list. Got these rebellious white girls, and I'm not talking about all the white women. Shout out to all the beautiful snow queens out there. I'm not talking about you, baby. I'm not talking, you make sure you tell Dexter and Tyrone, Uncle D said hello. I'm not talking about you. Okay, I know you love them. Okay, I'm just saying, but some white women, you know, they get into these relationships with black men, you know, and it's like out of rebellion. And that's why these interracial relationships are getting dragged into the fight. What do they call them? Mud sharks and race mate. That don't have anything to do with us. It's a very tiny percentage of black people and white people getting married anyway. Most white men marry within their race. Most black men marry within their race. But see, black people are not the cause, but we're the symbol, which leads to the next thing we're dealing with, projection and scapegoating. See, when a group of people can't tolerate its own internal conflict, is what you see going on with white folk, it pushes the blame outward. So black people have become the talking point, you know, the weapon of punishment. That's where we've been so far, but it's hard to get us right now because we're not out in them streets. They still talking about George Floyd. It's been 6 years. Okay? But what this does is it allows white society to avoid confronting what's really breaking down: male insecurity, patriarchal decay, and internal moral failure. Now, what word did they come up to describe the problem that they have with society? They called it woke, which is a word that black folk came up with in the 1980s and the 1990s to kind of discuss us opening up our third eye. And they used to say it a lot at the poetry slams, right? Back in the day. Okay. So we get drugged into that. Okay. And that's why some of this conflict feels irrational to people. Okay. It's really why we in conflict. Compromise is not going to work. This isn't about policy debate. It's unresolved authority conflicts mixed with identity renegotiation and just otherwise just rebellion. They're just using politics as a stage. And so, you know, again, black folk, this is exactly why I keep saying black people need to stay out of it. We are resting. We have nothing to do with this. See, when people start talking about Trump derangement syndrome, they're not talking about a medical condition. I hear white society rebelling against a racist, patriarchal father figure who's demanding loyalty to a system that no longer works. And black people need to understand this clearly. We do not break this family, and we cannot fix this family. Let me say that again. We did not break this family, and we cannot fix this family. This is white folk dealing with other white folk. And the best move for us is to stay out of it. Now, let me talk to you black conservatives. and you left-leaning activists. I want to talk to all you black people out there. Now, some of you all complain about me because it's like, we don't know where you stand. One day you're against the immigrants, the next day you're calling it racist targeting. I speak the truth. I vote my interest. And see, that's what happens when you're honest with yourself. I'm not like y'all. Again, I'm not like y'all. I don't have a target audience. You understand? I'm just here to be accurate as I possibly can, because when people look at this in 10 or 15 years, they're going to be like, man, that dude was on something. I'm not speaking for this time. I'm speaking for all time. And I want to speak the truth. And I want what I say to be as accurate as possible to reflect what I see. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Black people on both sides of this ideological fight, let me humbly suggest that you are making a serious mistake right now. You've got the so-called new Black Panther Party. I think they changed themselves to the Black Lion Party, far left. You got people like Candace Owens and what's the name of the rest of these people out here? These black folk who are what we call far right or whatever. You got all these black people, getting in this business. You got the Black Panthers in Minnesota, black, whatever they call themselves, inserting themselves in a situation where a white woman and a white man got unalived by ICE agents. And yes, what happened to those people was tragic. It was unnecessary. No one is denying that. But let's be clear about what you're walking into. This is not a black issue. This is a fight inside white society that is white men enforcing authority over white women and asserting their dominance over what they deem to be their country. This is white patriarchy trying to put white women back in their place. And when you inject yourself into that fight, you're not helping, you're escalating a family dispute that has nothing to do with you. And at the same time, you got black conservatives running around blaming liberal white women for the downfall of America. Let me be very blunt. Okay? That's the same talking point that the white male racist patriarch have been using against white women for decades. You're parroting that ideology and the very people who have historically oppressed black and brown people and Asian people, and that's hypocrisy. But let me say this clearly. There's nothing wrong with women, white women, any woman having a voice in society, whether she's liberal or conservative or whatever. Women are your mothers, women are your sisters, women are your daughters, women are your wives, they're your grandmothers. If you think, and I want you men to come to the front here, if you think you always know what's best and a woman should shut up and just follow, then you are a very insecure man and naive. So these black conservatives need to hear this plainly. Stop interjecting yourself into this war between white men and white women. If you find yourself blaming liberal white women for the collapse of America, you're overstepping your bounds, unless you're a white man. And worse, you're attacking the same white women who historically align with well-meaning white men who fought to dismantle Jim Crow, segregation, second-class citizenship for black people and brown people and Asian people. And that alliance matters. History matters. So let them do what they've been doing for you, for whoever else they want to do it for. And to these left-leaning activists running into these white internal conflicts with this performative outrage, it doesn't make you revolutionary. It makes you useful. You're being triangulated into someone else's crisis, and when it turns violent, you're going to be the one to blame. All you black women interjecting yourself into, again, volunteering to be these white liberal women's spirit animal. You're the one that's going to catch that heat. That's how the black woman became the face of the LGBT. She became the face of Me Too. She became the face of baby deletions. She became the face of social reform and welfare, even though they call it the welfare queen, even though it's white women who get the most welfare. You became the face of affirmative action, even though white women benefit most from affirmative action and DEI, because you jumped in there. Sit down. Relax. Now, no matter where you fall politically, there's only one political reality that should matter first and foremost. You are black in America, and in this country, race is still the organizing principle. We are still segregated economically, socially, and politically. So mind your business. What you're doing right now is no different than a white man stepping in the black community and saying the problem with black people is a strong black woman, or the problem with black people is the black man is not in the home and he needs to be a better father. It sounds good, it makes you feel good, but do you really want them jumping in saying that? Especially when it's false. Takes two to tango. Women don't get pregnant by themselves. And if black men and black women are not together, it's because they made that choice for whatever reason. Nobody forced them to be together and nobody forced them apart. They made a choice. They grown-ups. Nevertheless, we know blaming one side for all the ills in the black community, when the same black community is systematically subjected to all these external pressures designed to divide us, is just foolishness. It's nonsense. And again, we know the truth is far more complicated than that. But again, the reason we have so many strong black women is because black men were systematically separated from the family through incarceration, economic destruction, policy decisions, and yes, bad choices. Okay, ladies and men. Like I said, women don't get pregnant by themselves. You ran up in it raw. Now you got a baby. What you mad for? We played our role. That's the uncomfortable truth. Let's just grow up and deal with it. And I know some of the brothers are gonna be mad about that, but hell, man, it is what it is. What you want me to say? What you want me to say? We don't even need to fight anymore. We've been hashing this out since Sally Jesse Raphael, family. What we fighting for? Let's watch the white people fight for some time. But what you need to understand is the real damage to the black community, it didn't start with feminism or white women. It started in the 1980s and the 1990s. We sold dope to each other. We destroyed our communities. We sold out ourselves for money. We sold our bonds for capitalism. And we put the dollar over our people. So we sold our souls. Yeah, they might have pushed the dope in the hood, but nobody made you use it and nobody made you sell it. We sold our souls chasing wealth without responsibility. Let's go ahead and deal with that. Maybe that was the reason, the driving force behind why we mad at each other right now. We got all these broken families. Because we made choices collectively as a group. We sold our soul for capitalism, and we were willing to sell poison in our own communities. And we got the music to prove it, that we supported it. Even if you never sold dope, you was bumping NWA and all that other stuff. Before that, we were forced to deal with each other. Segregation made us interdependent. We had to be dependent on each other because we didn't have anywhere else to go. That's why we had black businesses. There was a need. That's why we had black neighborhoods, because we couldn't live anywhere else. That's why we had black accountability. But remember, as I said the other day, we were very poor. 60% of black people lived below the poverty line in 1965. Now we got money. Now we rich. We have options. And because we have options, unity has to be chosen, not forced. You don't want to live in the ghetto no more with some people you don't agree with. You don't want to live in a trailer park. I tell my kids all the time, once you turn 18, anything I do for you is not done out of obligation, it's done out of love. And the same applies to the black unity. It's not going to come from coercion. It's going to come from choices. It's not going to come at all. And history teaches us something else too. People always rebel against unjust systems. Whether we talking about slavery, black people couldn't read and couldn't write. Couldn't read and couldn't write. Most of them had been, their daddy was a slave, their mama was a slave, everybody was a slave. But yet there was still over 200 recorded slave rebellions in the 256 years of slavery. Where does that tell you? That's something powerful. It tells you that even without education, even without a full understanding, human beings instinctively resist oppression. That's what it tells you. So what you're watching right now is white society. It's a rebellion, but that rebellion is not yours. So hear me clearly. Whether you are one of these pro-left, all the way left, all the way right, whether you're a black MAGA, Black Panther, whatever the hell you are, stay out of it. And stop blaming white women. Stop defending white men. Stop inserting yourself in the white people business. Because you're just making it worse. It's not getting better. That's not our family. That's not our fight. And that's not our business. Now, I'm going to take this opportunity to thank all 10 people who contributed to the super chat. And I'm going to take also the opportunity to thank everybody who contributed to the Cash App. Now, the question that I'm going to ask you all today is, did you learn something? Did you learn something? If you learn something, I should earn something. But more importantly, you guys make sure that you contribute to my journey to 100,000. I'm going to check and see. Y'all make sure y'all hit the number 1 button. Hit the subscribe button. And let me know that you appreciate what I'm doing. I am only like 50 people away from what seems to be 92,000. I think that's it. Please hit the subscribe button and let me know you appreciate what I'm doing. We got 12 super chats. All right, we're moving along. Hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to take the opportunity now to read these super chats, but I want you guys to hit the subscribe button, okay? Do that now. How many subscribers do we have now? Somebody, hit the, let me know how many likes we have. Let me know how many likes we have. Okay? How many likes do we have? Somebody let me know how many likes we have. Somebody let me know how many subscribers we have. Let me see here. 356. Okay, that's not bad. Now, I know we had a whole bunch of people in there. We had like 900. I think it said like 30,000. That's crazy. I don't believe that. What do y'all think YouTube is playing? Look at that. This is what it said we had in here tonight. Can y'all see that? Can you guys see that? 39,083 people. That's what it said. But YouTube lies sometimes. YouTube is up here lying to me. But makes no sense that however many people we had in here, we only have 300 likes. So you guys make sure y'all hit the like button, okay? And so before I finish and read this closing statement, I want to make sure I read all the super chats. You guys enjoy the broadcast tonight? We got 13 super chats. Oh, before I finish, also, look, if you've been involved in it, well, let me go ahead and read these super chats. Shout out to Gene Davis, pretty name, 5067. Thank you for the super sticker. We got 13 super stickers, super chats. Penelope, just comply, works both ways. That's good work, D. Keep up the great work. I will. Thank you so much, Faquan, for the $2 super sticker. Thank you, Canary Valens. I learned something. You earned something. Yeah, keep enlightening us. I will keep doing that. We got 13 super chats. Maybe we can get to 15. Only if you learn something. If you don't learn anything, you don't owe me anything, I'll work harder. Fitzgerald, thank you for the $10 super sticker. Devian Mitchell, thank you for the $2 super sticker. Torian Jones, I almost got my head blown off. I'm trying to step between a couple fighting. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is what you see happening right now. And you got a lot of black people taking too many liberties, worrying about what these white folks got going on, and they need to chill out. They need to sit down somewhere. This has nothing to do with you, because they'll get back together and you'll be the person on the outs. That's what folks seem not to understand. You need to learn to mind your business. Okay, and a lot of people don't learn, they haven't learned that lesson. Mind your business. Mind the business that pays you. But thank you so much, Torian. I appreciate that. Is the scapegoat a spirit animal? Count me out. Yeah, the scapegoat is the spirit animal, man. Shout out to you, man. Who else we got in here? Tobias says, thanks, Unc. Stay blessed, family. I will. Also, RS101, thank you for the $5 super sticker. Rhonda Whitaker, thank you for the $1.99. Subjective opinion, nothing I did not already know. Keep up the good fight, sir. Nothing I did not already know. Keep up the good fight. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, so we got 13 super stickers. And let's see how many cash apps we have. I have to make sure I write at the bottom of the page. I'm give you my phone number at my office. If you've been involved in a car accident anywhere, let me know. And the number you can reach me at is 713-229-0770. I am an attorney licensed in multiple states. There's my number at the bottom. Make sure you hit me up. I'm good at what I do. Shout out to Willie Brown. He said, I learned. Shout out to everybody who's learned something. I appreciate you guys. For Robert Johnson for last night's Black Veterans. Yeah, we got love for the veterans. Shout out to all the veterans. My man, Robert Johnson, again, love seeing these fresh roses. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get some more fresh roses. Y'all wanna? I got to get some more fresh roses. They only last so long. That's the thing about them. My man, Fresh. Thank you, Blizzard King and Obadiah. Appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you for everybody who's learned something. I appreciate you all. Again, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Everybody on the rebroadcast. All my people who are watching this on the rebroadcast. If you didn't watch it live, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Somebody said we have 374 likes. That's sad. Y'all are sad. Super sad. You need to do better. You need to do better. You only got 374 likes. Y'all sad. I've been sitting here talking to y'all for 3 hours and keeping y'all entertained and teaching you something. You learn something. You learn about coverture. You learn that white women were property, okay? You learn that white men, not only would they put signs up for the runaway slaves, they put signs up for the runaway brides. What hell were white women going through? That the white men had to put up signs to bring their brides back. Think about that. That's crazy. That's crazy. She don't want you, dog. She don't want you, man. You going down to the Virginia Gazette. because your wife done ran off, man. And your friend, man, why we ain't got, man, she don't want you no more, man. Let's just go back to the club and chill, brother. No, man, I gotta get my wife, but put a sign up, man. She don't want you no more, man. Let her go. Can you imagine these conversations? Your wife done ran off. Did you find her yet? No, man. I heard she ran off with the Indians, man. I can't believe that. She done went full Pocahontas on me, man. Think about that. This is what white women were going through. This is the type of hell. Because think about what the wilderness of North America looked like back in 1600, 1700. It was no air conditioning. I mean, they could have been in France. They could have married anybody. They end up marrying one of these wilderness dudes. And they way out in the wilderness. Can you imagine that? They were trying to get away from that. Damn. Every now and they couldn't deal with the black dudes because everybody's always watching them. And he out there messing with the black women, and you stuck in the house, pregnant, and your feet hurt, and he got the nerve to still be trying to tell you what to do and what you can't do, and he messing with everything in the neighborhood. Ooh-wee. I know them white women were running hot, and they said just run away. They'll save up a little money and escape. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of them ended up out west as prostitutes. You know how you see them old movies? Yeah, I was married back east and then I moved. That's what happened. Know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, don't get in the way of these white women challenging these white men. White women been dealing with for like a couple of 1,000 years, okay? And look, don't get in these people's business and don't become a target. But either way, like I said, they raised them though. These are your children. These are your sons. These are your husbands. So, you know, you might not like the deal now, but you sat right next to white men when they plundered and pummeled and beat and bled the world. You see? So let's keep that in mind. But anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. What we're watching right now is it's not about black people. I think I made that clear. And the truth is, it's not even about immigrants. It's not even about some sudden moral decline in the country. This country has come from lynching people and sending postcards around, enslaving people. I mean, they have. Are you kidding? Annihilating? So you think this is a moral issue? I don't think we've ever had an issue with morality or doing anything that's immoral in this country. And I talked about empire last night, all great empires, whether we talk about Rome or any other one, is bathed in blood. Okay, again, what this is about right now, it's about loss of control. You got an angry man who mad because his woman is running around in the street, talking loud, disrespecting him and doing whatever she wants. White society is dealing with an internal breakdown, especially between white men and white women. They can call them liberal, they can call them whatever, you see? But this breakdown is producing anger and fear and scapegoating. And when authority collapses at home, it does not disappear. It looks for a target. I told y'all that. And history shows us that when systems lose legitimacy, they get loud, they get mean, and they get dangerous. Okay, you see the white man throwing a tantrum right now. Shout out to subjective opinion. And so invariably what we see now, this white man is reasserting his authority. That's why the pew-pewing is going up. The mass pew-pewing is going up. That's related. What you think that pew-pewing is about? These mass pew-pewings. And it's not just the pew-pew they use. Okay, they're angry. They want to assert themselves. So the racism is spiking because they can't get to that white woman that they really want to tell. So they're going to take it out. They're going to show her they're a man. They're still a man. Not because they're strong and they're empowered, but because they're slipping. And black people are being dragged into this as a symbol, not causes. And that distinction matters if we want to survive. First, and I'll say this again, not every lesson or not every crisis is ours to solve. This is a hurricane. It's time to batten down the hatches. See, we as black people have a bad habit of jumping into other people's business that was never designed, wasn't ours in the first place. Okay? When white people fight each other and black people rush and take one side or the other, we don't become heroes, we become their shields. You got anger and rage that was meant for someone else, it's getting directed to you. That's not solidarity, that's exposure. You putting your own backside on the line. And see, wisdom and discernment is knowing that staying out of certain people's fights is not cowardice, it is self-preservation. A collapsing system is always going to look for an outsider to stabilize it. And historically, black people have paid that price dearly. They're enemies with each other. So in order to bring them together, they make you an enemy. That's basic office politics. You know how the people, that person that you don't like in the office, the person that nobody likes, the minute that person leaves, y'all turn on each other. Y'all might be cool for a minute, but then after a while, y'all end up turning on each other because at the end of the day, y'all was just full of conflict anyway, and y'all didn't like anybody anyway. And so now that that person who was the object of y'all conflict is gone, now y'all back to fighting each other. Yeah, it was you. It was y'all. And that's what's going on right now. White men and white women got long-standing beef with each other. And we don't need to get in that. Because all we're going to do is end up paying the price. Another lesson is that, you know, when you really in charge and you got it under control, you don't need to threaten or shame people. When you got men start calling their women the enemies and traitors and degenerates, that's not strength, it's failure. Brothers, come on, brothers, sisters. We've been doing that for a minute for the past about 15 years. It's gotten pretty bad. You had black women talk about, you had some sects of YouTube talk about how, well, you know, they trying to get the white man to come unalive black men. You have black men on the internet calling black women all sorts of names. And the only reason we've set that aside right now is because it's entertaining watching these white folk go at it like, damn, but we were just doing it. So as we point the finger at these white people, remember, we just kind of coming down off the height of a gender war. I just want you to think about it. Just think about it. Y'all gonna be mad? I don't care, just think about it. But again, legitimate authority is followed voluntarily. And once you have to force somebody to obey you, the game is over. Anytime you got to turn inward and you got to start sending police forces and armies into your own people, then you know, people don't believe in the idea anymore. The system is in decline. They're no longer building. They're not competing. They're not leading. They're just doing damage control. And when you see that happening, you don't need to rush closer. You need to create distance. And so we also need to learn that being emotionally reactive is a trap. Outrage feels good in the moment, but it clouds judgment. It feels good to talk bad about them white women, huh, black women? Y'all like being able to finally talk bad about them white women. You don't care if it's a liberal or whatever. You like it, don't you? Let's tell the truth. And you black men, you like being able to jump in and talk about those white women. You do. You do. It feels good. But see, emotional people are easy to manipulate. They're easy to redirect and they're easy to sacrifice. So be mindful of that when you're expressing your emotions. See, discipline means thinking long-term and not reacting in short-term. It means asking, how does this help black families? Not now, but 5, 10, 20 years from now, especially for you all who have these large platforms, because this is chronicled. And so if the answer is it doesn't, then the smartest move is to practice restraint. You can't build stability while chasing chaos. Now, the last thing I want to kind of talk to you about is our responsibility is not to fix white identity, white politics, or white patriarchy. Our responsibility is to our children, is to our families, is to our money, is to our future, is to ourselves. And every ounce of energy we waste managing someone else's collapse is energy taken from building something solid of our own. When a structure is cracking and people are arguing inside it, the goal is not to jump in, but it's to step back. Stay alert. Make sure you're standing on firm ground. And when it finally falls, you'll be safe. Again, that's not our family. That's not our fight. Understand that this is not a retreat, it's wisdom. And the most important thing you need to understand, all these extraneous fights, whether we're talking about immigration, whether we're talking about DEI, whether we're talking about abortion, this ain't about us. These are just power control fights between white men and white women. And so don't get yourself locked down into that. Okay? Save your energy. Our fight is coming soon. God bless you all. I love you. I hope you all appreciate what I've done. Thank you to everybody who joined me in this broadcast. And as I always said this time, it's Uncle D.
In the Spurling podcast, hit the like button, subscribe.